I wish you were mine tonight. 5 words that shattered everything. Noah Hayes, a single father who'd never asked for anything, who kept his head down and his promises sacred, stood frozen in a billionaire's driveway, watching Victoria Hale walk away from the most dangerous confession either of them had ever made. She was his best friend's girlfriend. He was nobody. And those 5 words just changed everything. This is a story about the moment when doing the right thing stops making sense, when loneliness finally speaks louder than loyalty, when you meet someone who makes you forget every rule you've lived by. Stay until the end. Hit that like button and drop your city in the comments. I want to see how far this story travels. The headache started behind Noah's left eye around 4 a.m., the kind that felt like someone was driving a Phillips head screwdriver into his skull with slow, methodical turns. He'd woken up 3 times already, once because his son Micah was having a nightmare about losing his backpack, once because the neighbor's dog wouldn't stop barking, and once for no reason at all except that sleep after 30 feels different than it used to. Thinner, less forgiving. By 6:30, when the alarm went off, Noah was already awake, staring at the ceiling of his bedroom in the small 2-bedroom rental house on Maple Street, watching the early light creep across the water stain that looked like a horse if you squinted. He'd been meaning to fix that stain for 8 months. Added it to the list right between replace the kitchen faucet and teach Micah how to ride a bike without training wheels. The list kept getting longer. He sat up slowly, testing the headache. Still there. Worse, actually. The kind of pain that makes your teeth ache and your vision swim at the edges. He pressed his palms against his eyes and counted to 10, an old trick that never worked, but that he did anyway out of something like hope or habit. He could never tell which anymore. "Dad?" Micah's voice came through the wall, small and sleepy. "Yeah, buddy? Is it Saturday?" "It's Saturday. Can we have pancakes?" Noah stood up, felt the room tilt slightly, steadied himself against the dresser. "Yeah, we can have pancakes." He made them from scratch the way his mother used to. Flour, eggs, milk, a little vanilla extract, a pinch of salt. Micah sat at the kitchen table in his dinosaur pajamas, legs swinging, watching cartoons on the tablet Noah had bought refurbished 3 Christmases ago. The screen had a crack across the bottom left corner that made everything look slightly fractured, like the world was breaking apart in small, manageable pieces. "You okay, Dad?" Noah flipped a pancake, watched it land perfectly in the center of the pan. Small victories. "Fine. Why?" "You look tired." "I am tired." "Then why don't you sleep more?" Noah smiled despite the headache. "Because you keep waking me up with nightmares about backpacks." Micah grinned, gap-toothed and perfect. "That was a really scary dream." "I know. The backpack had all my homework in it. Terrifying." They ate breakfast together in comfortable silence, the kind that only happens between people who know each other's rhythms. Micah drowned his pancakes in syrup the way he always did, creating a golden lake on his plate. Noah ate his dry, drinking black coffee that tasted like burnt regret, checking his phone every few minutes, even though he knew what he'd see. 3 texts from Marcus. "Marcus, you still good for today?" Marcus, "Garage is a disaster, man. Appreciate the help." Marcus, "BTW, Victoria might stop by. Her car's been making a weird noise. Thought you could take a look?" Marcus Chen had been Noah's best friend since high school. Since the day they'd both ended up in detention for a fight neither of them started. Marcus was the kind of guy who remembered your birthday, who showed up when you needed him, who'd driven Noah to the hospital the night Micah was born and stayed in the waiting room for 11 hours, even though he had work the next morning. Marcus was also the kind of guy who always landed on his feet. Good job, nice apartment, girlfriend who looked like she'd walked out of a magazine. Victoria Hale. Noah had met her exactly twice, once at Marcus's birthday party last year, once at a barbecue in July. Both times she'd been polite, distant, the way rich people often are around people who fix cars for a living. She'd smiled when she needed to, laughed at the right moments, and disappeared into conversations Noah couldn't follow about investment portfolios and art auctions and vacation homes in places he couldn't pronounce. He'd noticed her, though. Hard not to. She had the kind of beauty that made you look twice and then feel stupid for looking. Dark hair, sharp eyes, the posture of someone who'd never slouched a day in her life. But more than that, she had presence, the kind that changes the air in a room. Noah typed back, "On my way in an hour." "Dad?" He looked up. Micah was studying him with those serious 6-year-old eyes that sometimes felt too old, too knowing. You're doing the thing. What thing? The face thing, where you look sad but you're trying not to. Noah set his phone down. I'm not sad, buddy. Just got a headache. Did you take medicine? Not yet. Mom used to say you never take medicine. The mention of Sarah landed like it always did, sudden and sharp, even after 3 years. She'd left when Micah was 3, decided that motherhood and marriage weren't what she wanted, that she'd made a mistake, that she was sorry, but she had to go. She sent a card on Micah's birthday every year and called on Christmas. That was the arrangement. Noah never said a bad word about her to Micah, even though some nights he wanted to. Your mom was right about a lot of things, Noah said quietly. I miss her sometimes. I know. Do you? The honest answer was complicated. The easy answer was yes. Noah went with easy. Yeah, buddy, sometimes. After breakfast, Noah dropped Micah off at his mother's house. His own mother, Helen, who lived 10 minutes away in a small ranch house with a garden she tended like it was her religion. She met them at the door in her weekend uniform, jeans, a sweatshirt from a 5K she'd run in 1997, reading glasses hanging from a chain around her neck. There's my boy! She scooped Micah into a hug that lifted him off the ground. We're making cookies today. What kind? Whatever kind you want. Chocolate chip. Chocolate chip it is. She looked at Noah over Micah's head. You look like hell. Good morning to you too, Ma. I'm serious. When's the last time you slept a full night? I sleep fine. Liar. She set Micah down, pointed him toward the living room where she'd already set out coloring books and crayons. Go pick out what colors you want for the frosting. When Micah was out of earshot, she turned back to Noah, lowered her voice. You can't keep doing this. Doing what? Running yourself into the ground, working 60 hours a week, taking care of Micah alone, never asking for help. I'm fine. You're exhausted, and you're getting that look again. What look? The one you had right after Sarah left, like you're just going through the motions. Noah rubbed his eyes, felt the headache pulse. I'm helping Marcus clean out his garage today. That's not going through the motions. That's being a good friend. Marcus has money. He can hire people to clean his garage. He asked me. Helen sighed, the kind of sigh mothers perfect over decades of watching their children make the same mistakes over and over. Just promise me you'll take care of yourself, that's all I'm asking. I promise. Liar, she said again, but she was smiling. Marcus's place was in Riverside Heights, one of those neighborhoods where every house looked like it had been designed by someone who'd watched too many home improvement shows. Clean lines, lots of windows, lawns that stayed green even in August. His garage was a 2-car detached structure that had somehow become a storage unit for everything he'd meant to deal with for the past 5 years. This is embarrassing, Marcus said when Noah pulled up in his beat-up Honda Civic. I swear it wasn't this bad last time I looked. When was the last time you looked? 2019? The garage was worse than Noah expected. Boxes stacked to the ceiling, old furniture buried under tarps, camping gear that looked like it hadn't been touched since the Bush administration. They spent the first hour just clearing a path, sorting things into piles. Keep, donate, trash. Marcus talked the whole time, the way he always did, filling silence with stories about work, about his latest project managing some tech startup's expansion, about a trip to wine country he and Victoria were planning. She's stressed lately, Marcus said, hauling a box of old textbooks toward the donate pile. Work stuff. She's trying to close this deal on some historic building downtown, turn it into mixed-use retail and housing. Big project. Lots of money on the line. Sounds complicated. Everything with Victoria is complicated. That's what I love about her, though. She's not simple. She's not easy. He paused, searching for the word. She's sharp, like a knife. You have to handle her carefully or you'll get cut. Noah didn't know what to say to that, so he said nothing. They worked in silence for a while, the kind of silence that happens between old friends who don't need to fill every gap with words. The headache was still there, pulsing behind Noah's eye like a second heartbeat, but he ignored it the way he ignored most discomfort, by focusing on the task in front of him. Around 11, a car pulled up in the driveway. A black Mercedes, spotless, the kind that cost more than Noah made in 2 years. The door opened and Victoria stepped out. She was wearing jeans and a white button-down shirt, sleeves rolled to her elbows, hair pulled back in a ponytail. Simple, casual. But there was nothing casual about the way she moved. Precise, economical, like every step had been calculated. "Hey, babe," Marcus called out, wiping sweat from his forehead. "Thought you weren't coming until later." Meeting got canceled. She walked over, kissed him quickly on the cheek, then looked at Noah. "Hi." Noah. "Right?" "Right. Thanks for helping with this. Marcus would live in this mess forever if someone didn't force him to deal with it." "Happy to help." Her eyes lingered on him for a second longer than necessary, like she was trying to place him, trying to remember where they'd met before. Then she smiled, polite, distant, the same smile from the barbecue, and turned back to Marcus. "So my car's making that noise again. The clicking sound when I accelerate?" Marcus looked at Noah. "Think you could take a look?" "Yeah, pop the hood." Victoria moved to the car, did something Noah couldn't see, and the hood released with a soft click. He walked over, lifted it, propped it open with the rod. The engine was clean, well-maintained, probably serviced at some luxury dealership where they charged $300 just to change the oil. He leaned in, checked the belts, the hoses, listening for anything obvious. Victoria stood beside him, not hovering, just present. He could smell her perfume, something subtle, expensive, nothing like the body spray Sarah used to wear. "When did it start?" he asked. "About a week ago. Only happens when I'm accelerating from a stop." "Does it get worse over time or stay the same?" "Stays the same. Maybe gets a little louder when the engine's cold." Noah straightened, wiped his hands on his jeans. "Could be a few things. CV joint maybe. Or a heat shield that came loose. Hard to tell without driving it." "Want to take it around the block?" He hesitated. The headache was getting worse, making it hard to focus. But he'd already committed, and backing out now felt wrong. "Sure." They got in. Victoria in the passenger seat. Noah behind the wheel. The interior smelled like leather and that same subtle perfume. The seat adjusted automatically to his height. The mirrors tilted. The dashboard lit up like a cockpit. "This is a very nice car," he said, pulling out of the driveway. "Thank you. I've had it for 3 years. First big purchase I made after my company went public." "What kind of company?" "Real estate development. Historic preservation mostly. We buy old buildings, restore them, repurpose them." "That's the one Marcus mentioned. Downtown?" "Yeah, the Whitmore building, 1892. Beautiful architecture, completely neglected for 40 years. We're turning it into apartments and retail space, preserving the original facade, updating everything else." Noah drove slowly, listening for the clicking sound. It came right when she'd said it would, accelerating from the stop sign at the corner, a rhythmic tick, tick, tick that sounded like metal on metal. "Hear that?" Victoria asked. "Yeah." He turned left, drove another block, listening. The sound stayed consistent, probably not the CV joint then, more likely the heat shield. "You know cars?" Victoria said. It wasn't a question. "I work on them for a living." "Where?" "Anderson's Auto, over on 5th Street. "How long have you been doing that?" 14 years, started when I was 18. They turned back toward Marcus's house, the clicking sound following them the whole way. Noah tried to focus on the noise, on diagnosing the problem, but he kept getting distracted by the woman sitting next to him. The way she sat perfectly still, hands folded in her lap. The way she looked out the window like she was studying the neighborhood, cataloging details. "Can I ask you something?" she said suddenly. "Sure." "How long have you known Marcus?" "Since high school, 15 years, give or take. He talks about you a lot, says you're the most dependable person he knows." Noah didn't know what to say to that. "Marcus exaggerates." "Does he?" They pulled back into the driveway. Noah put the car in park, killed the engine, sat there for a moment trying to collect his thoughts through the haze of the headache. "I think it's the heat shield," he said finally, "piece of metal that protects the undercarriage from the exhaust heat. Sometimes they come loose, vibrate against other parts. Easy fix. I can tighten it up if you want." "You don't have to do that. It'll take 10 minutes. I can take it to the dealership. They'll charge you $200 for something I can fix right now for free." Victoria studied him for a long moment, like she was trying to solve a puzzle. Then she smiled, a real smile this time, not the polite distant one. Okay, thank you. Marcus had gone inside to grab drinks, so it was just the two of them in the garage. Noah jacked up the car, slid underneath on a creeper he found buried under a pile of old tarps. The heat shield was right where he expected it to be, loose bolt rattling against the exhaust pipe. Can you hand me that socket wrench? He called out. A moment later, Victoria was crouching beside the car, holding out the wrench. This one? Perfect. He tightened the bolt, checked the others, made sure everything was secure. The headache was screaming now, vision starting to blur at the edges, but he pushed through it. Finish the job. Always finish the job. So you have a son? Victoria's voice came from somewhere above him. Yeah, Micah. He's 6. What's he like? Strange question. Most people asked about the mother first, tried to figure out the situation. Victoria skipped straight to the kid. He's good, smart. Too smart, sometimes. Asks questions I don't know how to answer. Like what? Noah slid out from under the car, sat up, blinked against the sudden brightness. Victoria was still crouching, eye level now, and he realized how close she was. Close enough to see the flecks of gold in her brown eyes. Close enough to notice the small scar above her left eyebrow. Like why his mom left, he said quietly, or why people get sick, or why some kids have more money than others. What do you tell him? The truth. When I know it. And when I don't, I tell him I don't know. That's probably the best answer. Doesn't feel like it. They stayed like that for a moment, kneeling in Marcus's garage surrounded by boxes and forgotten junk, and Noah felt something shift in the air between them, something he couldn't name, something that made him look away first. All done, he said, standing up too quickly. The garage tilted. He steadied himself against the car. Are you okay? Fine, just stood up too fast. You look pale. I'm always pale. Victoria stood, brushed dust off her jeans. Thank you for fixing the car, and for being honest about not knowing the answers. Most people pretend they know everything. I'm not most people. No, she said, and there was something in her voice he couldn't read. You're not. Marcus came back with 3 beers, and they spent the next hour finishing the garage, hauling boxes to the curb, breaking down furniture, making terrible jokes about all the stuff Marcus had kept for no reason. Victoria stayed, helping where she could, and Noah kept expecting her to get bored and leave, but she didn't. Around 2, Noah's phone buzzed. His mother. Mom, Micah wants to know if he can stay for dinner too. We're making spaghetti. He texted back, That's fine, I'll pick him up around 7. When he looked up, Victoria was watching him. Everything okay? Yeah, just my mom, she's got Micah for the day. Must be nice, having help like that. It is. Do you ever get time to yourself? Or is it always work and Micah? The question caught him off guard. I don't know. I guess I don't think about it that way. You should. Everyone needs time to be just themselves. Not a father, not an employee, just a person. When's the last time you did that? Noah asked before he could stop himself. Victoria smiled, but it was sad around the edges. Longer than I'd like to admit. They finished the garage around 4. Marcus ordered pizza, and they sat on the back patio eating straight from the box, drinking the beers that had gotten warm in the sun. Noah's headache had settled into a dull throb, manageable now, background noise. Victoria sat across from him, picking pepperoni off her slice, and he found himself watching her when he thought she wasn't looking. The way she listened when Marcus told a story about work, nodding at the right moments but not really engaged. The way she traced patterns on the condensation of her beer bottle. The way she looked up suddenly and caught Noah staring, and instead of looking away, she held his gaze for 3 long seconds before Marcus said something that broke the moment. I should go, Noah said, standing abruptly. Gotta pick up Micah. Thanks again, man, Marcus said, pulling him into a one-armed hug. Seriously, I owe you. You don't owe me anything. Dinner sometime. You and Micah. We'll do something fun. Yeah, sounds good. Victoria stood, extended her hand for a formal handshake. Thank you for fixing my car. Her hand was warm, grip firm. Noah shook it, let go, felt the absence of contact like a physical thing. No problem. If it starts clicking again, let me know. I will. He walked to his car, got in, started the engine. In the rearview mirror, he could see them standing together in the driveway, Marcus with his arm around Victoria's waist, Victoria leaning into him slightly. A perfect picture. A perfect couple. Noah drove away and tried not to think about why his chest felt tight. He picked up Micah at 7, right on time. His mother met him at the door with a container of leftover spaghetti and the look she always gave him when she was worried but trying not to show it. "How was your day?" she asked. "Fine. Helped Marcus. Fixed a car. And the headache?" "Still there." "Noah, I'm fine, Ma. Really." Micah came running up, face covered in tomato sauce, grinning like he'd just won the lottery. "Grandma let me help cook." "Did she? I stirred the sauce and everything." "That's great, buddy." They drove home through the Saturday evening traffic, Micah chattering about cookies and coloring books, and how Grandma's cat had climbed onto the counter and knocked over the flour. Noah listened with half his attention, the other half somewhere else entirely. At home, he gave Micah a bath, read him 2 stories, tucked him into bed with his favorite stuffed dinosaur. "Dad? Yeah? Are you sad?" "No, why do you keep asking that?" "You just seem far away." Noah sat on the edge of the bed, pushed Micah's hair back from his forehead. "Sometimes grown-ups think about things. It's not sad. It's just thinking." "What are you thinking about?" How to answer that. How to explain that sometimes you meet someone and they rearrange something inside you without trying, without meaning to, and suddenly the life you'd accepted as enough starts feeling like not quite enough at all. "Lots of things," he said finally. "But right now I'm thinking about how lucky I am to have you." Micah smiled, sleepy and warm. "Love you, Dad." "Love you too, buddy." After Micah fell asleep, Noah sat in the living room with the lights off, staring at his phone. No new messages. No reason to expect any. He opened his conversation with Marcus, scrolled up through months of texts, plans to meet up, jokes, photos of Micah, the casual back and forth of a friendship that had survived 15 years. He typed, "Thanks again for today." Marcus replied almost immediately, "Thank you. Garage looks amazing. Victoria says you're a miracle worker with cars." Noah stared at the message. "Just doing what I know. You free next weekend? Thought we could do that dinner. Bring Micah." "Victoria's been wanting to get to know you guys better." Something in Noah's stomach twisted. "Yeah, maybe. I'll check." "Cool. I'll text you." Noah set the phone down, closed his eyes, tried to sleep sitting up, but all he could see was Victoria crouching beside the car, asking about Micah. Victoria holding his gaze across the patio. Victoria shaking his hand like it meant something. The headache came back full force. He took 3 ibuprofen, drank a glass of water, lay down on the couch because his bed felt too far away. Sleep came in pieces, fractured, restless, full of dreams he couldn't quite remember when he woke up. Sunday was quiet. He and Micah went to the park, fed ducks, got ice cream even though it was too cold for ice cream. Normal things, safe things, things that made sense. Monday he went back to work, spent 8 hours under cars, came home smelling like oil and brake fluid. Micah had homework, simple addition problems that took an hour because Micah kept getting distracted by everything except the numbers on the page. Tuesday was the same. Wednesday. Thursday. Friday night, his phone buzzed while he was making dinner. Unknown number. "Hi, Noah. This is Victoria. Got your number from Marcus." My car is making a different noise now. "Wondering if you have time to take another look?" "No pressure if you're busy." He stared at the message for a full minute. The smart thing would be to say he was busy, to recommend a good mechanic, to keep the distance that had felt appropriate, necessary, safe. Instead, he typed, "Sure. When works for you? Tomorrow afternoon, around 2? "That works. Same place?" "Actually, could you come to my place? I'll send you the address. I can pay you for your time." "You don't need to pay me. Then I'll buy you lunch. Deal?" Noah looked at the message, looked at Micah sitting at the kitchen table drawing pictures of dinosaurs fighting robots, looked back at the message. Deal. He spent all of Saturday morning trying not to think about it. Took Micah to his mother's house, promised to be back by 5. Drove to the address Victoria had sent, a high-rise apartment building downtown, all glass and steel and modern architecture. The lobby had marble floors and a doorman who looked at Noah's oil-stained work boots like they were tracking mud. "I'm here to see Victoria Hale," Noah said. Name? Noah Hayes. The doorman made a call, nodded, pointed to the elevator. 18th floor, unit 1804. The elevator was glass-walled, offering a view of the city as it climbed. Noah watched the ground fall away, felt his stomach drop in a way that had nothing to do with motion. The doors opened. 1804 was at the end of the hall. He knocked. Victoria answered, wearing jeans and a sweater, hair down this time, barefoot. She looked different outside of Marcus's garage. Softer, somehow. More real. Hey, she said. Come in. The apartment was exactly what he'd expected and nothing like it at the same time. Expensive furniture, yes. Art on the walls, yes. But also books everywhere, stacked on tables, filling shelves, lying open on the couch. A coffee mug on the kitchen counter with cold coffee in it, a blanket crumpled on the floor like she'd been sleeping there. Sorry about the mess, she said, seeing him look. I've been working from home all week. This isn't mess. You should see my place. She smiled. Cars in the garage downstairs. But first, lunch. I ordered Thai. Hope that's okay. They ate at her dining table, containers spread between them, talking about nothing important. The weather, the city. A documentary she'd watched about urban planning. Noah told her about Micah's latest dinosaur drawing, about how he was convinced velociraptors could time travel. That's very advanced thinking for a 6-year-old, Victoria said. He gets it from his mother. She was the smart one. Was? We're not together anymore. Haven't been for 3 years. I'm sorry. Don't be. It was the right thing, for both of us. Victoria picked at her pad thai, quiet for a moment. Then, can I ask you something personal? Okay. Do you ever regret it, the way your life turned out? What do you mean? Single father, working a job that probably doesn't pay what it should, no time for yourself. Do you ever wish you'd made different choices? Noah set down his fork, thought about the question, really thought about it. No, he said finally. I mean, it's hard, really hard sometimes. But Micah, he's the best thing I've ever done. The only thing I know for sure I got right. Victoria looked at him with something in her eyes he couldn't name. That's a good answer. What about you? He asked. Do you regret anything? She was quiet for a long time, long enough that Noah thought maybe he'd crossed a line. I regret not knowing what I want, she said finally. I built this whole life. Successful company, beautiful apartment, relationship with a good man. Everything looks perfect on paper, but sometimes I feel like I'm watching someone else live it. Marcus is a good man. I know he is. That's not... She stopped, shook her head. Never mind. We should check on the car. They went downstairs. The garage was dim, concrete and shadows. Victoria's Mercedes was parked in a numbered spot near the elevator. She started the engine and Noah listened. This noise was different, a whine that got higher as the RPMs climbed. Serpentine belt, he said, probably just needs tightening. He popped the hood, checked the belt tension. Too loose. He found the adjustment bolt, tightened it, checked again. Better. Try it now. Victoria revved the engine. The whine was gone. You're a magician, she said. I just know belts. It's more than that. She got out of the car, came around to where he was standing. You pay attention, really pay attention. That's rare. They were standing very close now, closer than they needed to be. Noah could see the gold flecks in her eyes again, could smell her perfume, could feel something electric in the air between them. Victoria, I know, she said quietly. I know what this is, or what it could be, and I know we can't. Then why did you ask me here? Because I wanted to see you again. Because when I'm around you, I don't feel like I'm watching my life from the outside. I feel like I'm actually in it. Noah's heart was hammering. You're with Marcus. I know. Nope. He's my best friend. I know that too. So what are we doing? Victoria stepped back, wrapped her arms around herself. Nothing. We're doing nothing. You're going to leave, and I'm going to forget this conversation, and we're going to pretend this didn't happen. But neither of them moved. I should go, Noah said. You should. He walked to the elevator, pressed the button. The doors opened immediately. He stepped inside, turned around. Victoria was still standing there, watching him. Noah? Yeah? Thank you for being honest, For seeing me. The doors started to close. Noah watched her disappear, felt something tear in his chest. He drove home in silence, picked up Micah, made dinner, did bath time and bedtime and all the normal routines, but nothing felt normal anymore. That night, lying in bed, his phone buzzed. Victoria. I'm sorry about earlier. That was inappropriate. He stared at the message, typed and deleted 3 different responses before settling on, It's okay. Victoria. It's not. Marcus is your best friend. I shouldn't have said what I said. Noah. You were honest. That's not a bad thing. Victoria. Honesty can be dangerous. Noah. So can lying. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then nothing. Noah set the phone down, closed his eyes, tried to sleep. The next week passed in a haze. Work, Micah. Work, Micah. Marcus texted about dinner plans. Noah made excuses. Not yet. Soon. Next week, maybe. He knew he was avoiding it, knew it wasn't fair. But every time he thought about sitting across a table from Marcus and Victoria, pretending everything was normal, his stomach turned over. Friday night, his phone buzzed again. Victoria. My car is making another noise. His heart jumped. Noah. What kind of noise? Victoria. I don't know. I think I might be making it up. Noah. What do you mean? Victoria. I think I'm inventing problems so I have an excuse to see you again. He stared at the message, didn't know how to respond. Victoria. That was too honest again, wasn't it? Noah. Yeah. Victoria. I'm sorry. Noah. Stop apologizing. Victoria. What should I do instead? Noah thought about it. Thought about all the things he wanted to say and couldn't. Thought about Micah, asleep down the hall. Thought about Marcus, his best friend, the guy who'd been there for him when Sarah left, when money was tight, when everything felt impossible. Noah. Figure out what you want, really want, and then be honest about it. Victoria. What if what I want is wrong? Noah. Then at least you'll know. The 3 dots appeared and stayed for a long time. Then, Victoria. Can I see you tomorrow, just to talk? Everything in Noah screamed that this was a bad idea, that he should say no, that he should protect the friendship, protect Micah, protect the simple life he'd built. But he typed, Yeah. Where? Victoria. There's a cafe on Market Street, Bluebird. 10 a.m.? Noah. I'll be there. He barely slept that night. Noah woke up at 6:30, same as always. But this time he'd actually been asleep. 3 hours? Maybe 4, if he was being generous. He'd spent most of the night staring at the ceiling, playing out conversations that hadn't happened yet, trying to find the version where this didn't blow up in his face. There wasn't one. Micah was already awake, sitting on the living room floor, building something elaborate with Legos, tongue sticking out in concentration, the way it always did when he was focused. Morning, buddy. Morning, Dad. Look. He held up a spaceship that looked more like a pterodactyl. It's got laser wings. That's pretty cool. Can we go to the park today? Noah glanced at the clock. 9:15. He had 45 minutes. Maybe later, okay? I have to meet someone for coffee first. Who? Just a friend. What friend? Someone I'm helping with their car. Micah looked up, eyes narrowing in that way that meant he was about to ask a question Noah didn't want to answer. Is it a girl? Why would you ask that? Because you look nervous. You only look nervous around girls. I'm not nervous. You're doing the thing with your hands. Noah looked down. He was cracking his knuckles one by one, the same thing he used to do before taking tests in high school. He stopped. It's just coffee, Micah. Nothing to worry about. Okay. Micah went back to his spaceship, already forgetting the conversation, and Noah felt a sharp stab of something that might have been guilt or might have been relief. He dropped Micah off at his mother's house at 9:40. Helen met them at the door in her gardening clothes, dirt already under her fingernails even though it was barely 10 in the morning. Twice in 1 week? She said. What's the occasion? Just need to run an errand. What kind of errand requires dropping off Micah on a Saturday morning? The regular kind. She gave him that look, the one that said she knew he was lying but wasn't going to press it. Not yet, anyway. You look tired. I am tired. You look more than tired. You look like you're about to do something stupid. Noah kissed her on the cheek. I'll be back in a couple hours. That's not a denial, Noah. Love you, Ma. Liar. Bluebird Cafe was the kind of place that tried very hard to look like it wasn't trying at all. Exposed brick, mismatched furniture, chalkboard menus written in that handwriting that was supposed to look casual, but clearly took someone an hour to perfect. It was crowded for a Saturday morning. Couples reading newspapers, college kids with laptops, a woman in yoga pants ordering something with 5 different milk alternatives. Victoria was already there, sitting at a corner table near the window, hands wrapped around a white ceramic mug. She saw him come in and something crossed her face. Relief, maybe, or fear, or both at once. Noah ordered black coffee from a barista with a nose ring and carried it over to her table. Hi, she said. Hi. They sat in silence for a moment, both holding their mugs like they were the only solid things in the room. I almost didn't come, Victoria said finally. Me too. But you did. Yeah. She looked different in the morning light, tired like she hadn't slept either. No makeup, hair pulled back in a messy bun, wearing a sweater that looked expensive but old, worn soft at the elbows. I don't know how to do this, she said quietly. This isn't something I do. What isn't? Meet men in coffee shops to talk about feelings I shouldn't be having. Noah took a sip of his coffee. It was too hot, burned his tongue, but he drank it anyway. Then why are we here? Because I can't stop thinking about you. And I hate it. I hate that I'm that person. I hate that I'm sitting here lying to Marcus every time I don't tell him where I am. I hate that She stopped, pressed her fingers against her eyes. I'm sorry. This isn't fair to you. Victoria. And the worst part is, I don't even know what I want. That's the really pathetic part. I'm sitting here confessing all this, and I don't even know what I'm asking for. Maybe you're not asking for anything. Then what am I doing? Noah set down his mug, leaned back in his chair. Around them, the cafe kept moving. Conversations, laughter, the hiss of the espresso machine. Normal people doing normal things. You're being honest, he said. That's all. Honesty doesn't fix this. No, but lying makes it worse. Victoria looked at him for a long moment, and he could see her working through something, trying to find the right words or the right exit or the right way to make this not be happening. I've been with Marcus for 2 years, she said finally. He's good to me. He's stable, reliable. He makes me laugh. On paper, he's perfect. And I keep waiting to feel the way I'm supposed to feel about him. The way people in relationships are supposed to feel. What way is that? Like I can't imagine my life without him. Like the thought of losing him is unbearable. She traced the rim of her mug with one finger. But when I imagine my life without Marcus, I mostly just feel relieved. And that makes me a terrible person. It doesn't make you terrible. It makes you human. Does it? Because I feel like if I was a better person, I would love him the way he deserves. He hasn't done anything wrong. He's never hurt me, never lied to me, never given me a reason to doubt him. But you don't love him. The words hung there between them, sharp and final. I don't know, Victoria said quietly. Maybe I do. Maybe I'm just broken in some way that makes me incapable of feeling what I'm supposed to feel. You're not broken. How do you know? Because I've seen you. The way you talk about your work, about the buildings you restore, the way you listened when I talked about Micah. That's not broken. That's someone who cares deeply about things. Just not the right things. Maybe, or maybe you're just with the wrong person. Victoria's hands tightened around her mug. And what about you? Are you the right person? The question landed like a punch. Noah felt his heart rate kick up, felt the careful distance he'd been maintaining start to collapse. I don't know, he said honestly. I think you scare the hell out of me. I think you're way out of my league. I think getting involved with you would probably destroy my friendship with Marcus and complicate my life in ways I can't afford. But I can't stop thinking about you either. Victoria closed her eyes, breathed out slowly. When she opened them again, they were wet. What are we supposed to do with that? I don't know. This is so stupid. We barely know each other. Yeah. And you're Marcus's best friend. I know. And She gestured vaguely at herself, at the cafe, at the expensive watch on her wrist. I'm not exactly someone who fits into your life. No, Noah agreed. You're not. So we should just stop this, right now, before it gets worse. Probably. Neither of them moved. A woman at the next table laughed at something on her phone, loud and sudden, and it broke the spell. Victoria wiped her eyes with the back of her hand, took a shaky breath. Tell me about Micah, she said abruptly. Tell me something real. Noah blinked at the shift. What do you want to know? Anything. Everything. I want to understand your life. So he told her. About the morning routine, the battles over vegetables, the bedtime stories that had to be read exactly the same way every night, or Micah would start over from the beginning. About how Micah still slept with a nightlight because he was afraid of the dark, but would never admit it. About the time he'd gotten sent home from school for telling another kid that dinosaurs were more important than math and refusing to apologize. He sounds amazing, Victoria said, and there was something wistful in her voice. He is, most of the time, when he's not being a complete terror. Do you ever want more kids? I don't know, maybe. If I ever meet someone who'd be willing to put up with me long enough. You're not that hard to put up with. You've known me for 2 weeks. Fair point. She smiled, and it was the first real smile he'd seen from her all morning. What about dating? Do you date? Not really. Hard to date when you're a single parent. Most people aren't interested in signing up for that. That's their loss. Maybe. Or maybe they're just being smart. Victoria leaned forward, elbows on the table. Can I tell you something? Okay. The first time I saw you, at Marcus's birthday party last year, I noticed you. Noah felt something flip in his chest. You didn't say a word to me. I know, because I was with Marcus and you were his friend, and it would have been inappropriate. But I noticed you. The way you hung back from the crowd, the way you watched people instead of performing for them. And I remember thinking that you looked like the kind of person who actually saw things, really saw them. I'm not that deep. I was probably just tired. You're doing it again. Doing what? Deflecting. Making yourself smaller than you are. Noah looked away, out the window where people were walking past with their Saturday morning lives, grocery bags, dogs on leashes, joggers in expensive sneakers. I've been small for a long time, he said quietly. It's safer that way. Safer than what? Than wanting things I can't have. Victoria reached across the table, and for a second Noah thought she was going to take his hand, but she stopped just short, fingers resting on the wood between them. What if you could have them? I can't. But what if you could? He looked at her, really looked at her, and saw something he recognized, the same loneliness he carried, the same exhaustion of pretending everything was fine when it wasn't. Then I'd probably ruin it somehow, he said. That's what I do. I ruin things. You didn't ruin Micah. That's different. How? Because he didn't have a choice. He got stuck with me. And he's lucky for it. Noah shook his head, felt the familiar weight of inadequacy settling in. You don't know what you're talking about. Don't I? Victoria's voice sharpened. You think I don't know what it's like to feel like you're not enough? To look at your life and wonder why you can't just be satisfied with what you have? That's not the same thing, isn't it? You think having money makes you immune to feeling empty? To feeling like you're going through the motions? At least you have options. Do I? Because from where I'm sitting, my options are stay with a man I don't love because leaving him would make me look like a terrible person, or walk away and prove everyone right who said I was too cold, too ambitious, too broken to make a relationship work. The bitterness in her voice caught Noah off guard. He'd never heard her sound like that, raw, unfiltered, angry. People say that about you? You'd be surprised what people say when they think you can't hear them, or when they don't care if you can. She pulled her hand back, wrapped both arms around herself. Sorry, I shouldn't dump all this on you. It's okay. It's not. You came here to... I don't even know what you came here for. And I'm sitting here unloading 2 years of relationship anxiety like you're my therapist. I came here because you asked me to. Why? Because I wanted to see you. The honesty of it seemed to shock them both. Victoria stared at him, and Noah stared back, And for a moment, the cafe disappeared, and it was just the two of them in a bubble of tension and possibility and fear. "We can't do this," Victoria whispered. "I know. Marcus would never forgive you. I know. And I can't. I won't be the person who destroys a friendship." "Then what are we doing here?" Victoria stood abruptly, chair scraping against the floor loud enough that people turned to look. "I don't know. I need to think. I need to... I'm sorry. I have to go." She grabbed her purse, fumbled with it, dropped it. Noah bent down to help her pick it up. Wallet, keys, a small notebook with a pen clipped to it, and their hands brushed and she pulled back like she'd been burned. "Victoria, I'm sorry," she said again, and then she was gone, weaving through tables, pushing through the door, disappearing into the street. Noah sat there alone with 2 cups of coffee and the weight of everything unsaid pressing down on his chest. Around him, the cafe kept moving, kept being normal, and he felt like he was watching it all from underwater. He paid, left, drove aimlessly for 20 minutes before he realized he was heading toward his mother's house. He sat in the driveway for 5 minutes, trying to pull himself together, trying to figure out what he was going to say when she asked how his errand went. She opened the door before he could knock, Micah already behind her with his backpack. "That was quick," she said, studying his face. "Yeah. Everything okay?" "Fine." "Noah?" "Not now, Ma. Please." She looked at him for a long moment, then nodded. "Okay, but we're going to talk about this eventually." "I know." Micah ran up, grabbed his hand. "Can we go to the park now?" "Yeah, buddy. We can go to the park." They spent 2 hours at the park, Micah running from the swings to the slide to the climbing structure in an endless loop of 6-year-old energy. Noah sat on a bench, watching him, trying not to check his phone every 30 seconds. No new messages. He didn't know if that was good or bad. That night, after Micah was asleep, Noah sat in the living room with a beer he wasn't drinking and tried to make sense of what had happened. The smart thing would be to walk away, to tell Victoria he couldn't see her again, to focus on his friendship with Marcus, to go back to the simple life that might not have been exciting but at least made sense. But every time he thought about it, he saw her face across the cafe table. The way her voice had cracked when she said she couldn't stop thinking about him. The way she'd looked at him like he was something real in a life full of performances. His phone buzzed. Marcus. "Dinner next Saturday? Victoria's really excited to spend more time with you and Micah." Noah stared at the message, felt sick. "Can I get back to you?" "Might have to work. On a Saturday?" "Maybe. Not sure yet." "No worries. Let me know." Noah set the phone down, finished the beer in 3 long swallows, got another one. Sunday passed in a blur. Monday he went back to work, spent the day with his hands inside engines, grateful for problems that had clear solutions. Tuesday was the same. Wednesday, Marcus called. "Hey man, haven't heard from you in a while." "Yeah, sorry, been busy." "Everything okay?" "Fine, just work stuff." "You sure? You sound weird." "I'm not weird. You're being weird right now." Noah closed his eyes, pressed his phone against his forehead. "I'm fine, Marcus, just tired." "All right. Well, Victoria wanted me to tell you thanks again for fixing her car. She said you're a lifesaver." "It was nothing." "She also said you should stop by sometime, have a beer, hang out. She feels bad that we haven't done that dinner yet." "Yeah, maybe." "Maybe? That's the best you got?" "I'm just not sure when I'm free." Silence on the other end of the line. Then, "Did something happen?" "No." "Because you're acting like something happened." "Nothing happened, Marcus. I'm just busy." "With what?" "With Micah, with work, with life." "Okay." Marcus's voice had changed, gotten careful. "If you don't want to hang out, just say so. You don't have to make excuses." "I'm not making excuses." "Then what's going on?" Noah wanted to tell him. Wanted to say, "I met your girlfriend for coffee, and we talked about feelings we shouldn't be having, and I can't stop thinking about her, and I don't know what to do about it." But the words wouldn't come. "Nothing's going on. I'm just tired." "You keep saying that." "Because it's true." Another silence. Then Marcus said, very quietly, "Did I do something to piss you off?" "No, of course not." "Then why does it feel like you're avoiding me?" "I'm not avoiding you." "Yes, you are." You've been avoiding me for 2 weeks. Every time I try to make plans, you have an excuse. Every time I call, you sound like you want to get off the phone. And now you're being weird about Victoria, and I don't understand why. Noah felt something crack in his chest. I'm sorry. I don't want you to be sorry. I want you to tell me what's wrong. I can't. Why not? Because I don't know how. Marcus let out a long breath. Is this about Sarah? Because if you need to talk, it's not about Sarah. Then what? It's complicated. Uncomplicated. I can't, Marcus. Not right now. Fine. The word was sharp, hurt. When you figure out how to uncomplicate it, let me know. Until then, I guess I'll just leave you alone. Marcus, the line went dead. Noah sat there holding his phone, feeling like the worst person in the world. He started to call back 3 different times, stopped each time because he didn't know what to say. That night, Victoria texted. Marcus said you're avoiding him. Is it because of me? Noah stared at the message for a full minute before responding. It's complicated, I know. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have asked you to meet me. I wanted to. That doesn't make it better, I know. The 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. I ended things with Marcus. Noah's heart stopped. What? I can't keep doing this. It's not fair to him. I told him tonight. Victoria, I didn't mention you. I just told him I couldn't be in the relationship anymore. That I wasn't being honest with him or with myself. How did he take it? Not well. He asked if there was someone else. I said no. You lied. I didn't lie. There's not someone else. There's just the possibility of someone else. That's different. Noah stood up, started pacing his living room, phone pressed to his ear even though they were texting. This is a disaster. I know. He's going to hate me. He doesn't know about you. He will, eventually. And when he does, he'll never forgive me. Maybe, but at least I'm being honest now. That has to count for something. Noah stopped pacing, sat down heavily on the couch. What happens now? I don't know. I need time to figure out what I want, what I actually want, not what I think I'm supposed to want. And then maybe we can figure out if this is real, or if we're just 2 lonely people who found each other at the wrong time. What if it's both? Then we'll deal with it, one way or another. Noah closed his eyes, tried to breathe through the panic building in his chest. I need to talk to Marcus, tell him the truth. Not yet. Please give it a few days, let him process the breakup first. That feels like lying. It's not lying. It's just strategic honesty. That's literally what lying is. Noah, please, just give me a few days to figure this out. Then you can tell him whatever you need to tell him. He wanted to argue, wanted to say that waiting would only make it worse. But he was tired and confused, and some part of him wanted the excuse to not deal with it yet. Okay. A few days. Thank you. But then I'm telling him everything. I know, and I'll be there when you do. If you want. I don't know what I want. Welcome to the club. Noah set his phone down, stared at the ceiling, wondered how his simple life had gotten so complicated so fast. The next few days were torture. Marcus didn't call, didn't text, and Noah didn't reach out because he didn't trust himself not to confess everything. Work was a blur. Micah asked twice if he was okay, and Noah lied both times. Friday night, Victoria called. Actually called, not texted. Hi, she said when he answered. Outside. I'm outside. What? Your house. I'm outside. Can I come in? Noah looked around his living room. Micah's toys everywhere. Laundry basket in the corner he'd been meaning to fold for 3 days. Dishes in the sink. I don't care what your house looks like, Noah. I just need to see you. He opened the front door. She was standing on his porch in jeans and a coat, hands shoved in her pockets, breath visible in the cold air. Micah's asleep, he said quietly. Okay. They stood there looking at each other, and Noah realized this was the first time she'd ever been to his house, the first time their worlds had physically collided like this. Come in. She followed him inside, looked around at the small living room, the worn furniture, the crayon drawings taped to the walls. This is nice. It's small. It's a home. That's different than nice. Noah didn't know what to do with his hands. He settled for crossing his arms, staying near the door. What are you doing here, Victoria? I've been thinking about what you said, about figuring out what I actually want. And? She took a step closer. I want this. Whatever this is. I want to see where it goes. Victoria. I know all the reasons it's a bad idea. I know it's complicated and messy and probably going to blow up in both our faces. But I can't keep pretending I don't feel what I feel. What about Marcus? What about him? I ended it. It's done. He's going to find out eventually. About us. I know. And he's going to be devastated. I know that too. So what are we supposed to do? Just pretend like we didn't destroy his life? Victoria's face hardened. I didn't destroy his life. I ended a relationship that wasn't working. That's not the same thing. It is when you ended it because of me. I ended it because of me. Because I was unhappy. You were just the catalyst that made me realize it. They stared at each other, the air between them electric and dangerous. This is insane, Noah said. I know. We barely know each other. I know. I have a kid. I work 60 hours a week. I live in a rental house with a water stain on the ceiling that looks like a horse. I know all of that. And you still want this? Victoria crossed the distance between them in 2 steps, and suddenly she was close enough that Noah could see the exact shade of gold in her eyes, could count the freckles on her nose that her makeup usually covered. I don't know if I want this, she said softly. I just know I can't walk away without finding out. Noah felt his resolve crumbling. Victoria, tell me to leave. If you don't want this, tell me to leave and I will, and we'll never talk about it again. He should have said it, should have protected his friendship, protected his simple life, protected both of them from the inevitable fallout. Instead, he said, I can't. Can't what? Can't tell you to leave. Something shifted in her expression. Relief, fear, hope, all tangled together. Then don't. She kissed him. Soft at first, hesitant, like she was testing to see if he'd pull away. When he didn't, when instead he pulled her closer, one hand in her hair, the other on her waist, she deepened it, and Noah felt like he was falling and flying at the same time. They broke apart after a moment that felt like hours. Victoria was breathing hard, forehead pressed against his. I should go, she whispered. Yeah. Before I do something stupid. Yeah. Neither of them moved. Then, from down the hall, Dad? They jumped apart like they'd been electrocuted. Noah's heart was hammering. Yeah, buddy? I had a bad dream. I'll be right there. Footsteps, small and sleepy, padding toward the living room. Noah looked at Victoria, panicked, but she was already moving toward the door. I'll call you, she mouthed. She slipped out just as Micah appeared in the hallway, rubbing his eyes, dragging his stuffed dinosaur by one leg. Who was that? Micah asked. Noah's mind raced. Just someone dropping something off. What? Papers. For work. Micah seemed to accept this, too tired to question it. Can I sleep in your bed? Yeah, come on. He carried Micah back to his bedroom, tucked him under the covers, lay down next to him. Micah was asleep again in minutes, curled against Noah's side, breathing deep and steady. Noah stared at the ceiling, at the water stain that looked like a horse, and wondered what the hell he'd just done. His phone buzzed. Victoria, I'm sorry for showing up like that. I wasn't thinking. Noah typed back with one hand, careful not to wake Micah. It's okay. No, it's not. I put you in an impossible position. I kissed you back. That was my choice. What are we doing, Noah? I don't know, but I think we're doing it anyway. Are you okay with that? He looked at Micah sleeping beside him, thought about Marcus, thought about all the ways this could go wrong. No, but I don't think that's going to stop me. We should talk, really talk, about what this means. Okay, when? Tomorrow? I can come back when Micah's at your mom's. Okay. Noah set his phone down, wrapped his arm around his son, and tried not to think about the fact that everything had just changed and there was no going back. Morning came too fast and too slow at the same time. Noah woke up with Micah's elbow in his ribs, and the memory of Victoria's kiss burned into his brain like a brand. He lay there for a while listening to his son breathe, trying to convince himself that last night had been a dream. The rational part of his brain was screaming that he'd just crossed a line he couldn't uncross, that he'd betrayed his best friend, that he was setting himself up for a disaster he couldn't afford. The irrational part, the part that could still feel Victoria's hand in his hair, could still taste her, didn't care. Micah stirred, opened his eyes. "Dad?" "Yeah, buddy?" "Why'd I sleep in here?" "You had a bad dream, remember?" Micah thought about it, then shook his head. "I don't remember." "That's okay. Sometimes that happens." "Can we have waffles?" Noah checked the time on his phone. 7:15. 12 hours until Victoria would be here. 12 hours to figure out what the hell he was going to say to her. "Yeah, we can have waffles." They ate breakfast, and Noah went through all the motions, pouring syrup, cutting up pieces, reminding Micah to use his napkin. But his mind was somewhere else entirely. He kept checking his phone, waiting for a message from Victoria, or worse, from Marcus. But there was nothing. Just silence. "Dad, you're doing it again." Noah looked up. "Doing what?" "The faraway thing. Where you're here but you're not here." "Sorry, buddy. Just thinking about work." "You think about work a lot." "That's because work is important." Micah chewed his waffle thoughtfully. "Grandma says you think too much." "Grandma says a lot of things." "She also says you need a girlfriend." Noah nearly choked on his coffee. "She said that to you?" "No, she said it to Grandpa Joe on the phone, but I heard it." "You shouldn't eavesdrop." "I wasn't eavesdropping. She was talking loud." Micah tilted his head, studying Noah with those two old eyes. "Do you want a girlfriend?" "I don't know. Maybe someday." "What about that lady from last night?" Noah's stomach dropped. "What about her?" "Is she your girlfriend?" "No, she's just a friend." "But she came to our house at nighttime. That's weird." "She just needed to drop something off." "What?" "Papers." "For work?" "Yeah." Micah seemed to consider this, then shrugged and went back to his waffles. Crisis averted, for now. But Noah knew his son. Knew that the question would come back eventually, in a different form, at a worse time. He dropped Micah off at his mother's house around 9. Helen met them at the door with flour on her hands and that look in her eye that meant she was gearing up for an interrogation. "You look worse than yesterday," she said. "Thanks, Ma." "I'm serious. When's the last time you slept through the night?" "I slept fine." "Liar." She wiped her hands on a dish towel, studied him. "What's going on with you?" "Nothing." "Noah Thomas Hayes, I changed your diapers. I know when you're lying to me." "It's complicated." "Uncomplicate it." "I can't. Not yet." Helen sighed, the kind of sigh that carried 32 years of motherhood. "Is it a woman?" Noah felt his face flush. "Why would you ask that?" "Because Micah told me someone came to the house last night. A woman, dropping off papers. It was work-related." "At 9 o'clock on a Friday night?" "Ma, are you seeing someone?" "No, I mean, it's not like that." "Then what's it like?" Noah rubbed his face, felt the exhaustion pulling at him. "I don't know. That's the truth. I don't know what it is yet." Helen's expression softened. "Is it someone I know?" "Please don't make me talk about this right now." "Okay. But Noah?" She waited until he looked at her. "Whatever it is, whoever she is, just be careful. You've got Micah to think about." "I know. And yourself. You deserve to be happy, but not if it costs you everything else." The words stayed with him on the drive home, echoing in his head like a warning he should have heeded weeks ago. He cleaned the house, which mostly meant shoving Micah's toys into bins and doing the dishes that had been piling up all week. By 11:30, the place looked almost presentable. By noon, he was pacing. Victoria arrived at 1, pulling up in the Mercedes that now ran perfectly thanks to Noah's repairs. The irony wasn't lost on him. He watched her get out of the car, watched her walk up the path to his front door, and felt his heart trying to climb out of his chest. He opened the door before she could knock. "Hi," she said. "Hi." They stood there for a moment, and Noah realized this was different than last night. Last night had been impulse, emotion, the kind of moment that happens before you can think about it. This was deliberate. This was walking into it with eyes open. "Come in." She followed him inside, and this time she really looked at the place. The photos of Micah on the wall, the stack of library books on the coffee table, the jacket hanging by the door that was too small for Noah and clearly belonged to a 6-year-old. "You want coffee?" Noah asked, because he didn't know what else to say. "Sure." He made it in the kitchen while she stood in the living room, and the domesticity of it felt strange and natural at the same time. Like they were playing house, trying on a life that didn't belong to them yet. "How's Micah?" she asked when he handed her a mug. "He's good. Asked about you, actually." "What did you tell him?" "That you're a friend, that you were dropping off papers." "Does he believe you?" 6-year-olds believe everything and nothing at the same time. Hard to tell. They sat on the couch, careful to leave space between them. Victoria held her mug with both hands, staring into it like it held answers. "I talked to Marcus this morning," she said quietly. Noah felt his stomach clench. "And?" "He wanted to know if there's any chance we could work things out, if it was just a rough patch." "What did you say?" "I said no. That it wasn't about him, it was about me. That I couldn't be in a relationship where I wasn't all in." "How'd he take it?" "Better than I expected." "Worse than I hoped?" She took a sip of coffee, winced like it was too hot. "He's hurt and confused, and I think part of him knows there's more to it than I'm saying." "You should tell him." "I will, eventually, but not yet. Not when he's still processing the breakup." "Victoria, the longer we wait, the worse it's going to be." "I know, but I need time to figure out what this is first, what we are." "What do you want us to be?" She set down her mug, turned to face him. "I want to find out if this is real, if what I feel when I'm around you is something that could actually work, or if it's just, I don't know, fantasy, escape. And if it's escape, then we walk away before anyone else gets hurt." "Someone's already hurt. Marcus is hurt. He would have been hurt anyway. The relationship was dying. I just pulled the plug before it suffered any longer." Noah wanted to believe that what they were doing was somehow separate from Marcus's pain. But he knew better. "I need to tell him," Noah said. "About us. About what happened." "Nothing happened. We kissed once." "That's not nothing." "I know, but it's also not. We're not sneaking around. We're not having an affair. I ended things with him before anything really started with you. Technically." "Yes, technically, and technically matters." Noah stood up, started pacing. "This feels wrong, all of it. I've known Marcus since we were 17. He was there when Sarah left, when I didn't know how I was going to make rent, when I thought I was going to lose my mind. And now I'm here with his ex-girlfriend talking about whether we should pursue something that's going to destroy him." Victoria's jaw tightened. "It's not going to destroy him. You don't know that. He'll be hurt. He'll be angry, but he'll survive. People survive breakups all the time. Not like this. Not when their best friend..." "What?" "When their best friend what? Meets someone, falls for someone. You're acting like we committed some crime." "We betrayed him. I didn't betray anyone. I ended a relationship I wasn't happy in. That's not betrayal. That's honesty." "You ended it because of me." "I ended it because of me," Victoria said, her voice rising. "Because I was miserable. Because I was going through the motions. Because every time Marcus talked about our future, marriage, kids, the whole package, I felt like I was suffocating. You didn't make me feel that way. You just made me realize I was already feeling it." The words hung between them, sharp and true. Noah stopped pacing, looked at her, really looked at her, and he saw it. The same trapped feeling he'd had with Sarah, the same sense of going through the motions, pretending everything was fine when it was slowly killing you from the inside. "How long were you unhappy?" he asked quietly. Victoria looked away. "Honestly? From the beginning. But I kept thinking if I just tried harder, if I just gave it more time, if I just became the person he needed me to be, then it would work. That's not how relationships work. I know that now." "Do you?" "Because it sounds like you're about to do the same thing with me. Try to be someone you're not." "That's not what I'm doing, isn't it?" "You barely know me, Victoria. You don't know what my life is really like. You don't know what it means to be with someone who has a kid, who works 60 hours a week, who can't afford to take you to fancy restaurants or buy you expensive gifts. I don't care about any of that. You say that now. But what about 6 months from now? A year? When the newness wears off and you realize you're dating a mechanic who lives in a rental house and has more debt than savings? Victoria stood up, crossed the space between them. You think I don't know what I'm getting into? I think you know the idea of me, the version you've built up in your head, but that's not the same as reality. Then show me reality. What? Show me your real life, not the cleaned up version. Show me what it's actually like. Noah stared at her, trying to figure out if she was serious. You want to see my real life? Yes. It's not pretty. I don't care. It's boring and exhausting. And sometimes it's just me sitting on this couch at 10 o'clock at night, too tired to move but too wired to sleep, wondering if I'm screwing up my kid. Show me that. Something in her voice made Noah believe her. Or maybe he just wanted to believe her. Either way, he heard himself say, "Okay." They spent the afternoon in his small house, and Noah showed her exactly what he'd warned her about. He showed her the stack of bills on the kitchen counter, some paid, some not. He showed her Micah's room with the shelves he'd built himself because he couldn't afford to buy new ones. He showed her the washing machine that only worked if you kicked it in exactly the right spot. He showed her the calendar on the fridge with Micah's schedule color-coded because if he didn't write everything down, he'd forget. "This is it," he said, standing in the middle of his kitchen. "This is my life. Laundry on Sundays, meal prep on Monday nights because it's cheaper than eating out. Micah's therapy appointments every other Thursday for the separation anxiety he got after his mom left. Soccer practice on Tuesdays and Saturdays. Library on Fridays. My mom's house every Sunday for dinner because she worries if she doesn't see us every week." Victoria walked around the kitchen, looking at everything. The grocery list on the fridge, the photo of Micah's first day of kindergarten, the coffee mug with a chip in the handle that Noah refused to throw away. "How old is Micah's therapist recommendation?" she asked. 3 years? Does it help? Yeah, most of the time. He still has bad nights, still asks about his mom, but he's better than he was. And you? Do you see anyone? Noah laughed, short and bitter. I can barely afford Micah's copays. I'm not adding my own therapy to the list. You should. With what money? I could. Don't. The word came out harder than he meant it. Don't do that. Do what? Offer to fix it. With money. That's not what this is about. Victoria's face fell. I wasn't trying to insult you. I know, but that's the reality gap I'm talking about. You see a problem, you think about how money could solve it. I see a problem, I figure out how to work around it. That's not fair, isn't it? How much do you think this apartment costs? Guess. Noah, just guess. I don't know, 1,500? $950. And that's after the landlord raised it last year. Know how I afford it? I do all the maintenance myself. Fix the pipes, patch the walls, unclog the drains. That's the deal. And even with that, there are months I'm not sure I'm going to make rent. Why didn't you tell Marcus? He would have helped. Because I don't want help. I want to do it myself. That's pride talking. Maybe. Or maybe it's dignity. There's a difference. They stared at each other across the kitchen, and Noah could see her trying to understand, trying to bridge the gap between their worlds. He wanted to believe it was possible, but every practical bone in his body said it wasn't. I'm sorry, Victoria said quietly. You're right. I don't know what your life is like. Not really. I'm not trying to make you feel bad. I'm just trying to be honest about what you're signing up for. What if I want to sign up for it anyway? Then you're crazy. Maybe I am. Noah felt something in him soften. Why? Why would you want this when you could have anyone? Someone who can actually take care of you, give you the life you're used to. Because everyone who can give me that life looks at me like I'm a prize they won. You look at me like I'm a person. The honesty of it hit him square in the chest. He crossed the kitchen, stood in front of her, close enough to touch but not touching. What are we doing, Victoria? I don't know, but I want to find out. Even if it means losing Marcus's friendship? Even if it means that? Even if it's hard and messy and nothing like what you're used to? Especially if it's that. Noah searched her face, looking for doubt, for hesitation, for any sign that she didn't mean it. But all he saw was determination and something that looked dangerously close to hope. I have to pick up Micah at 5, he said. Okay. You could come with me, meet my mom properly, see what Sunday dinner looks like. Victoria blinked. You want me to meet your mother? I'm giving you an out right now, before this gets any more complicated. You can walk away, and we can both pretend this was just, I don't know, a moment, a mistake. Is that what you want? I want you to be sure, because once we do this, once we really do this, there's no going back. Victoria took his hand, laced her fingers through his. I'm sure. You're not. Not yet. But you will be. One way or another. They drove to his mother's house separately. Noah didn't want to confuse Micah by showing up together, but Victoria followed him in her Mercedes, and the whole way Noah kept checking his rearview mirror to make sure she was still there. Part of him expected her to turn around, to realize what she was getting into and bail before it was too late. But she didn't. Helen opened the door with Micah already hanging off her arm, chattering about the cookies they'd made. She saw Victoria standing behind Noah, and her eyebrows shot up, but to her credit, she didn't say anything, just stepped aside and let them both in. Mom, this is Victoria. Victoria, this is my mother, Helen. Nice to meet you properly, Victoria said, extending her hand. Helen shook it, studying Victoria with the kind of intensity only mothers can pull off. Properly? We've met before. At Marcus's birthday party. Understanding dawned in Helen's eyes, followed quickly by concern, but she kept her voice neutral. Of course. Come in. We just made chocolate chip cookies. Micah ran up, stopped short when he saw Victoria. You're the lady from last night. That's right. Hi, Micah. What, did you bring more papers? Victoria looked at Noah, confused. He mouthed later and turned to his son. Victoria's going to have dinner with us. Is that okay? Micah shrugged. Okay. Do you like cookies? I love cookies. Good. Because we made a lot. Dinner was awkward in the way that all first dinners with new people are awkward. Helen kept shooting Noah looks that clearly said, we're going to talk about this later. Micah kept asking Victoria questions with the brutal honesty of a 6-year-old. Why was her car so fancy? Why did she dress up for dinner? Did she have any kids of her own? Victoria answered all of them with patience and humor that surprised Noah. After dinner, Micah dragged Victoria to the living room to show her his dinosaur collection. Noah helped his mother with the dishes. So, Helen said, handing him a plate to dry, that's her. Yeah. Marcus's ex-girlfriend. Yeah. How long? It's not like that yet. But it's going to be. Maybe. Helen was quiet for a moment, washing dishes with more force than necessary. Does Marcus know? Not yet. Noah? I know, Ma. I know it's a mess. But I didn't plan this. Neither of us did. That doesn't make it better. I know. She handed him another plate, softer now. Do you love her? The question caught him off guard. I barely know her. That's not what I asked. Noah dried the plate slowly, thinking, I don't know, maybe. It's too soon to call it that. But you feel something. Yeah, I feel something. And she feels it too? She says she does. And you believe her? I want to. Helen turned off the water, dried her hands, looked at him with those eyes that had seen him through every mistake and triumph of his life. Baby, I want you to be happy. You know that. But this is complicated. I know. Marcus is going to be devastated. I know. And even if he forgives you eventually, your friendship won't be the same. I know all of that, Ma, but I can't. He stopped, tried to find the words. I spent 3 years just existing, going through the motions, working and taking care of Micah and telling myself that was enough. And then I met her. And for the first time in 3 years, I felt like I was actually alive, like I was allowed to want something for myself. You're always allowed to want things. Am I? Because every time I think about what I want, I feel guilty, like I don't deserve it because I have Micah to think about, or because I'm not successful enough, or because Sarah made you feel that way. The words hit like a slap. Noah set down the plate he was holding. Sarah didn't make me feel anything. She just left. She left because she was selfish and immature and not ready for the responsibility. That's on her, not you. But you've been punishing yourself for it ever since. I'm not punishing myself. No? Then why do you work yourself to death? Why do you never ask for help? Why do you act like wanting anything for yourself is some kind of crime? Noah opened his mouth to argue, then closed it, because she was right, and they both knew it. From the living room, they could hear Micah explaining the difference between a T-Rex and an Allosaurus. Victoria was listening like it was the most important lecture she'd ever heard. She seems nice, Helen said quietly. She is. But nice doesn't mean right. I know. And right doesn't mean easy. I know that too. Helen pulled him into a hug, the kind that made him feel like he was 10 years old again. Just be careful, baby. Your heart can only take so much. They left around 7. Noah buckled Micah into the back seat and Victoria waited by her car, looking uncertain for the first time all day. Thank you for dinner, she said. You survived my mother. That's impressive. She's protective. I get it. She's also probably going to call me in about 30 seconds to tell me all the reasons this is a bad idea. Is it? A bad idea? Noah looked at Micah through the car window, then back at Victoria. Probably, but I think we're doing it anyway. I should go. Let you do bedtime. Yeah. She started to get in her car, then stopped. Noah? Yeah? Today, seeing your life, your house, meeting Micah properly, it didn't scare me away. If anything, it made me more sure. Of what? That this is real, whatever it is. She drove away before he could respond, and Noah stood in his mother's driveway watching her taillights disappear, feeling like he'd just stepped off a cliff and was still waiting to see if he'd fall or fly. The drive home was quiet. Micah was tired, half asleep in the back seat, mumbling about dinosaurs. Noah carried him inside, got him into pajamas, tucked him in without the usual bedtime story because his son was already asleep before his head hit the pillow. Noah's phone buzzed as he was closing Micah's door. Victoria, thank you for today, for letting me in. He sat on his bed, stared at the message, tried to think of the right response. Thank you for staying. I should tell you something. Okay. I'm scared, really scared, but I'm also more excited about something than I've been in years, and I don't know what to do with that. Me too. What do we do now? Noah thought about it, thought about Marcus, about the friendship he was about to destroy, thought about all the practical reasons this would never work, thought about Micah asleep down the hall depending on him to make good decisions. Then he thought about Victoria's hand in his, the way she'd listened to Micah talk about dinosaurs like nothing else in the world mattered, the way she'd looked at his small, messy life and said she wanted to be part of it anyway. We figure it out, one day at a time. And Marcus? I'll talk to him, soon. I owe him that much. Do you want me there? No. This is something I need to do alone. Okay, just be kind to yourself. This isn't all your fault. Isn't it? No. It's life. Messy, complicated life. And we're all just doing our best. Noah set his phone down, lay back on his bed, and tried to believe that. Tried to believe that wanting something for himself didn't make him a terrible person. That loving someone, and maybe it was love, maybe it was too soon to call it that, but maybe it didn't matter, didn't automatically mean destroying everything else. His phone buzzed one more time. Victoria, I wish you were mine tonight. The words sat there on his screen, impossible and perfect and terrifying. Noah read them 3 times, 4 times, trying to memorize exactly how they made him feel, like drowning and breathing for the first time, like everything was about to change, and there was nothing he could do to stop it. He didn't respond. Couldn't respond. Because if he did, he'd say something he wasn't ready to say, something that would make this real in a way he couldn't take back. Instead, he just held on to the words, let them settle into his chest next to all the fear and hope and confusion, and tried to sleep. He couldn't. Around midnight, he got up, paced the living room, sat on the couch with a beer he didn't drink. His phone was on the coffee table, screen dark, Victoria's message still unanswered. What was he supposed to say to that? What was there to say except yes, except I wish that too, except everything in my life is about to implode, and I can't bring myself to care because for the first time in 3 years, I feel like I'm allowed to want something. His phone lit up. Marcus, can we talk? Noah's stomach dropped. He stared at the message, at the timestamp, 12:17 a.m., and knew that nothing good ever came from a text at this hour. Yeah. When? Now? I know it's late, but I can't sleep. Come over. Be there in 20. Noah sat there holding his phone, feeling like he was about to walk into an execution. He thought about texting Victoria, warning her, asking her what to say. But this wasn't her conversation to have. This was his. 23 minutes later, there was a knock on the door. Noah opened it to find Marcus standing on his porch in sweatpants and a jacket, looking like he hadn't slept in days. Hey, Marcus said. Hey, come in. They sat in the living room, the same room where Victoria had been just hours earlier, and the weight of that felt wrong in ways Noah couldn't articulate. Beer? Noah offered. Yeah. He grabbed 2 from the fridge, handed one to Marcus, sat down in the chair across from him. They drank in silence for a minute, and Noah could feel the question coming, could see Marcus working up to it. I need to ask you something, Marcus said finally, and I need you to be honest with me. Okay? Is there something going on between you and Victoria? The question hung in the air like smoke. Noah could lie, could say no, could buy himself more time, could kick this can down the road a little further. But he was so tired of lying. Yes, he said quietly. Marcus closed his eyes, breathed out slowly. When he opened them again, they were wet. How long? Nothing's really happened yet. But something's going to. I don't know. Maybe. Did it start before we broke up? Noah wanted to lie again, wanted to protect them both from the full truth. But he'd already decided on honesty, and there was no halfway version of that. I met her when I fixed her car, at your place. And there was something there. But we didn't act on it, not while you were together. But you wanted to. Yeah. And she wanted to. Yeah. Marcus set down his beer, put his head in his hands. She left me for you. She left you because she wasn't happy. I was just... Don't! Marcus looked up, and the pain in his eyes was like a knife. Don't tell me you were just a catalyst or whatever bullshit excuse you've been telling yourself. She left me for you. That's what happened. Marcus, how long have you been lying to me? I haven't been lying. Yes, you have. Every time I tried to make plans and you blew me off. Every time I called and you sounded weird. You were lying by not telling me. You're right. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't fix this. I know. Do you? Do you have any idea what the last 2 weeks have been like? Victoria breaks up with me out of nowhere, won't give me a real reason, and the whole time I'm thinking maybe I did something wrong, maybe I wasn't good enough, maybe if I just... He stopped, voice cracking. And the whole time, it was you, my best friend, the person I trusted more than anyone. Noah felt like he was being flayed alive. I never meant for this to happen. But it did happen, and you let it. You could have walked away. You could have told her no. You could have come to me and been honest, but instead you... Marcus stood up abruptly, started pacing. Do you love her? I don't know. That's not an answer. It's the only answer I have. I don't know if it's love. I just know that when I'm around her, I feel like I'm allowed to be more than just Micah's dad or the guy who fixes cars. Like I'm allowed to want something for myself. And what about what I want? Did you ever think about that? Of course I did. That's why we didn't... You didn't what? Sleep together? Congratulations. You want a medal for not quite completely betraying me? The anger in Marcus's voice was like a physical blow. Noah stood up, faced him. You're right to be angry. I would be too. But I'm not going to apologize for feeling what I feel. But no, you're just going to apologize for hurting me while you keep doing exactly what you want. That's not fair. None of this is fair. Marcus's voice rose, and Noah remembered too late that Micah was asleep down the hall. You had everything. My trust, my friendship, my support. And you threw it away for what? A woman you barely know? It's not just... What? It's not just about her? Then what is it about, Noah? Tell me. Help me understand why you would do this. Noah tried to find the words, tried to explain something he barely understood himself. I've been alone for 3 years, doing everything by myself, taking care of Micah, working, paying bills, and just existing. And then I met someone who made me feel like maybe I deserved more than that. Maybe I deserve to be happy. And you couldn't be happy without destroying my relationship. She was already unhappy, Marcus, with or without me. You don't know that. Yes, I do, because she told me. She told me she's been unhappy from the beginning, that she's been trying to force herself to feel something she doesn't feel. Marcus flinched like he'd been struck. She said that? Yeah. To you? Yeah. And you believed her. Why wouldn't I? Because maybe she was just looking for an excuse to leave and you were convenient. Did you ever think of that? The question rattled Noah more than he wanted to admit, because he had thought about it. Late at night, when he couldn't sleep, he'd wondered if Victoria was just using him as an escape route from a relationship she didn't want to be in anymore. I don't think that's what this is, he said finally. But you're not sure. No, I'm not sure, but I'm willing to find out. And if you're wrong, if this all blows up in your face and you lose everything, me, her, your self-respect, then what? Then I'll deal with it. Marcus shook his head, laughed bitterly. You're an idiot. You know that? Probably. And you're ruining your life for someone who's going to realize in 6 months that she can't handle dating a single dad who lives paycheck to paycheck. Maybe. But you're going to do it anyway. Yeah. They stared at each other across the living room, 15 years of friendship sitting in the space between them, like something breakable. I can't do this, Marcus said finally. I can't. I need time. Space. Whatever you want to call it. I understand. Do you? Because I don't think you do. I don't think you understand that you just destroyed the most important friendship in my life for a maybe. Marcus, don't. Just don't. I'm going to leave now. And I don't know when I'm going to be ready to talk to you again. Maybe in a few weeks. Maybe in a few months. Maybe never. I'm sorry. I know you are. That's the worst part. I know you didn't mean to hurt me, but you did it anyway. Marcus walked to the door, stopped with his hand on the knob. If this thing with Victoria falls apart, and it will, because these things always do, don't call me. Don't come to me looking for sympathy or friendship or whatever else you think I owe you, because I don't owe you anything anymore. He left without another word, and Noah stood in his empty living room listening to the sound of Marcus's car pulling away, feeling like something vital had just been ripped out of him. His phone buzzed. Victoria. Are you okay? Noah looked at the message, at the question that had no good answer. No, he wasn't okay. He'd just lost his best friend. He'd just burned a bridge he'd spent 15 years building. He'd just chosen a possibility over a certainty and wasn't sure if he was brave or just stupid. But he typed back. Yeah, I'll call you tomorrow. He didn't sleep that night, just sat on the couch until the sun came up, holding an empty beer bottle, wondering what he'd just done. Morning came with Micah's voice filtering through the fog of Noah's exhaustion. He'd fallen asleep on the couch sometime around 5, still holding the empty beer bottle, neck bent at an angle that made everything hurt when he tried to move. Dad? Why are you sleeping out here? Noah opened his eyes to find his son standing over him, already dressed in mismatched clothes, striped shirt, plaid shorts, one sock with dinosaurs and one with rockets. Just fell asleep watching TV, Noah lied, his voice rough. You look sad. I'm just tired, buddy. That's what you always say when you're sad. Noah sat up slowly, every muscle protesting. Go brush your teeth. I'll make breakfast. Micah stood there for another moment, studying him with those eyes that saw too much, then shuffled off toward the bathroom. Noah heard the water running, heard the sound of toothpaste being squeezed directly onto the counter instead of the brush like he'd told Micah 1,000 times not to do, and felt the weight of normalcy trying to anchor him back to earth. His phone was on the coffee table, screen full of notifications. 3 texts from Victoria, 2 missed calls from his mother. 1 voicemail from a number he didn't recognize. He ignored all of them, went to the kitchen, started making pancakes on autopilot. The routine helped. Measuring flour, cracking eggs, heating the pan, small tasks with clear outcomes. Not like the mess he'd made of everything else. Micah came back with toothpaste still on his chin. Noah wiped it off with a dishcloth, poured batter onto the griddle, watched it bubble and brown. His son climbed onto the kitchen chair, swinging his mismatched socked feet. Can we go to the park today? Maybe later. You said that yesterday. Did I? Yeah. And the day before. And the day before that. Noah flipped the pancake, watched it land perfectly. I've been busy, buddy. I'm sorry. Busy with what? How to answer that? Busy destroying my most important friendship. Busy falling for someone I barely know. Busy making choices that are going to change everything? Just grown-up stuff. Micah accepted this with the resignation of a kid who'd heard it before. They ate breakfast in silence, and Noah found himself watching his son, the way he drowned everything in syrup, the way he hummed while he chewed, the way he'd stab a piece of pancake and make it fly like a spaceship before eating it. This was what mattered, this small person who depended on him. Everything else was just noise. But even as he thought it, his phone buzzed again. Victoria. I'm worried about you. Call me when you can. Noah set the phone face down, focused on Micah. Dad? Yeah? Is Uncle Marcus mad at you? The question hit like a punch. Why would you ask that? I heard him yelling last night, through the wall. Noah felt his stomach drop. You were supposed to be asleep. I was, but then the yelling woke me up. He sounded really mad. We just had a disagreement about grown-up stuff. What kind of grown-up stuff? Nothing you need to worry about. But he's your best friend. Best friends don't yell at each other. Sometimes they do. When they're hurt. Did you hurt him? Noah looked at his son, at those serious eyes that deserved honesty, and felt the weight of the truth sitting on his chest like a stone. Yeah, buddy, I did. Why? Because I made a choice that affected him, and he's upset about it. What choice? A complicated one. Micah chewed his pancake thoughtfully. Are you going to say sorry? I already did. And he didn't forgive you? Not yet. Maybe not ever. That's sad. Yeah, it is. They finished breakfast and Noah cleaned up while Micah went to his room to build something elaborate with Legos. Noah stood at the sink washing dishes, staring out the window at nothing, trying to figure out what came next. His phone rang. Victoria. He let it go to voicemail, waited, listened to the message. Noah, I know you're probably dealing with a lot right now, but I need to know you're okay. Marcus called me this morning. He knows everything. He's really hurt and angry. Mostly at me, I think, but also at you. I told him it wasn't your fault, that I was the one who pursued this, but he doesn't want to hear it. He just keeps saying we both betrayed him. I don't know what to do. Call me, please. Noah deleted the message, sat down at the kitchen table, put his head in his hands. He stayed like that for a while, trying to breathe through the guilt and regret and confusion. Around 10, there was a knock on the door. Noah wasn't expecting anyone, and for a brief paranoid moment, he thought it might be Marcus coming back to finish their fight. But when he opened the door, it was his mother. We need to talk, Helen said, pushing past him into the house. Ma, I don't care if you're ready. We're talking. She went to the kitchen, started making coffee like she lived there. Noah followed, feeling like a kid about to get grounded. Where's Micah? Helen asked. His room. Good, because you and I need to have a conversation without little ears listening. She poured 2 cups of coffee, handed him one, sat down at the table and gestured for him to do the same. Noah sat, feeling like he was about to face a firing squad. I talked to Marcus, Helen said. Noah felt his heart sink. When? This morning. He called me, crying. Do you have any idea how hard it is to hear a grown man cry over something my son did? Ma, let me finish. He told me everything. About Victoria, about the breakup, about you and her. And then he asked me a question that broke my heart. What question? He asked me if I knew, if you'd told me what you were doing, if I'd helped you lie to him. What did you say? I told him the truth, that I suspected something was going on, but that I didn't know the details, that you hadn't confided in me. She took a sip of coffee, eyes hard. Then I told him I was sorry for raising a son who would do this to his best friend. The words cut deep. You didn't raise me to do anything. I made my own choices. Did you? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you let your emotions override your judgment, and now you've hurt someone who's been there for you through everything. I know that. Do you? Because you don't seem to understand what you've lost here. Marcus isn't just your friend, Noah. He's family. He was going to be Micah's godfather. He was the person who would have been there for you and your son no matter what. And you threw that away for a woman you barely know. I didn't throw anything away. I couldn't help how I felt. Yes, you could have. You're a grown man, not a teenager. You could have walked away. You could have told Victoria no. You could have protected your friendship. And what? Just spent the rest of my life wondering what if? If that's the price of loyalty, then yes. Noah stood up, started pacing. You don't understand. Then explain it to me. Help me understand why you would risk everything for someone who might not even stick around. Because I'm tired, Ma. I'm tired of being alone. I'm tired of going through the motions. I'm tired of telling myself that being a good father and a decent person is enough when every night I go to bed feeling like I'm only half alive. And you think Victoria's going to fix that? I don't know. Maybe. Or maybe it'll all fall apart and I'll end up even more alone than I was before. But at least I'll know. At least I'll have tried. Helen shook her head, sadness in her eyes. You're making a mistake. Maybe, but it's my mistake to make. It's not just your mistake. It affects Micah. It affects me. It affects everyone who cares about you. I know that. Then why are you doing this? Noah stopped pacing, looked at his mother, because for the first time in 3 years, I feel like I have a chance at something real, something that's mine, and I can't walk away from that. Even if it costs you Marcus? Even if it costs me everything? The words hung in the air between them, and Noah could see his mother struggling with them, trying to find an argument that would change his mind. But they both knew there wasn't one. I hope she's worth it, Helen said finally. I really do, because you just traded a sure thing for a gamble. She left without finishing her coffee, and Noah stood in his kitchen feeling like the walls were closing in. Through the house, he could hear Micah playing, making explosion sounds and spaceship noises, completely oblivious to the fact that his father's life was falling apart. Noah picked up his phone, finally called Victoria back. She answered on the first ring. Noah. Hey. Are you okay? Not really. You? Same. Marcus won't stop calling. He's saying things about us, about me. What kind of things? That I'm manipulative, that I used him, that I'm going to do the same thing to you. He's just hurt. I know, but it doesn't make it easier to hear. Noah leaned against the counter, closed his eyes. My mom was just here. She thinks I'm making a huge mistake. Are you? I don't know, probably. That's not very reassuring. I'm not trying to be reassuring, I'm trying to be honest. Silence on the other end, then, do you want to see me? Yeah, but I can't, not today. I need to figure some things out first. Like what? Like whether I'm strong enough to handle losing Marcus. Like whether bringing you into Micah's life is fair to him. Like whether I'm doing this for the right reasons or if I'm just trying to fill a hole that can't be filled. Noah, I'm not backing out. I need time to process what this actually means, what it's going to cost. Okay. Her voice was small, uncertain. How much time? I don't know. A few days? A week, maybe. A week is a long time. I know. What if you change your mind? Then I'll tell you. More silence. Then, I'm scared. Me too. But you still want this. Noah thought about it, really thought about it, about Victoria's hand in his, about the way she looked at his messy life and said she wanted to be part of it, about the possibility of something real. Yeah, he said finally. I still want this. Okay, then take your time. Figure out what you need to figure out. I'll be here. What if Marcus won't forgive me? Then we'll deal with that too, together. They hung up, and Noah felt marginally better, but also somehow worse. He spent the rest of the day with Micah, doing normal things, going to the park like he'd promised, getting ice cream, playing dinosaurs in the backyard. And the whole time, part of his brain was running through scenarios, trying to find the version where everyone came out okay. There wasn't one. That night after Micah was asleep, Noah sat on his porch with a beer and watched the street. A few houses down, someone was having a party, music and laughter drifting through the night air. Normal people doing normal things, their lives uncomplicated by impossible choices. His phone buzzed. Not Victoria this time. A number he didn't recognize. "This is Marcus. I'm texting from a different phone because I blocked your number and I don't want to talk to you, but I need to say this. You don't deserve Victoria. You don't deserve the friendship we had. And you don't deserve to feel okay about what you did. I hope it was worth it." Noah read the message 3 times, felt each word like a physical blow. He started to respond, deleted it, started again, deleted it again. What was there to say? Marcus was right, about all of it. He set the phone down, finished his beer, got another one. Around midnight, exhausted but too wired to sleep, he finally texted back, "You're right, I don't deserve any of it, but I'm going to try to deserve her. That's all I can do." He didn't expect a response, and he didn't get one. The next week passed in a strange kind of limbo. Noah went to work, came home, took care of Micah, avoided his mother's calls. Victoria texted every day, just checking in, and he responded but kept it brief. He wasn't avoiding her exactly, just trying to create space to think. But thinking didn't help. Every scenario ended the same way, with Marcus hating him, with his mother disappointed, with everything complicated and messy and hard. On Thursday, Noah's boss called him into the office. Tom Anderson was in his 60s, had owned the shop for 30 years, and had the kind of face that had seen everything and judged none of it. "You've been distracted lately," Tom said, not unkindly. "I know. I'm sorry. Want to talk about it?" "Not really." "Woman trouble?" Noah let out a bitter laugh. "Is it that obvious?" "You've been staring at the same engine for 20 minutes. Either you're having woman trouble or you're planning a bank robbery. And you don't seem like the bank robbery type." "It's complicated." "It always is. You want some unsolicited advice?" "Do I have a choice?" Tom smiled. "No, here it is. Whatever you're struggling with, don't let it cost you your job. I like you, Noah. You're good at what you do. But I can't keep paying someone who's only half here." "I understand." "Good. Now get your head on straight and fix Mrs. Patterson's Camry. She's been calling every hour." Noah spent the rest of the day forcing himself to focus, to be present, to do the work that paid the bills and kept a roof over Micah's head. It helped, having something concrete to solve. Engines made sense. You diagnosed the problem, you fixed it, it ran or it didn't. Clean, simple, no emotions involved. By Friday, Noah had made a decision. He called Victoria. "Can you come over tonight? After Micah's asleep?" "Yeah, of course. Is everything okay?" "I need to talk to you. Really talk." "That sounds ominous." "It's not. I've been thinking all week, and I need to say some things." "Okay. What time?" 8? "I'll be there." Noah spent the evening trying to be normal for Micah. Dinner, bath, stories, the whole routine. But his son could sense something was off. "You're doing the nervous thing again," Micah said as Noah tucked him in. "What nervous thing?" "With your hands, and your face looks all tight." Noah consciously relaxed his jaw. "I'm fine, buddy. Just thinking about work." "You think about work a lot." "Yeah, I do." "Is that lady coming over again? The one with the fancy car?" Noah's heart skipped. "Maybe. Why?" "Because last time she was here, you looked less sad after. So maybe she should come more." Out of the mouths of babes. Noah kissed Micah's forehead. "Get some sleep, okay?" "Okay. Love you, Dad." "Love you too." Victoria arrived at 8:15, apologizing for being late. Traffic, a work call that ran over, the usual chaos of her life that Noah was starting to understand. She looked tired, wearing jeans and a sweater that looked soft, hair pulled back, minimal makeup. More real than polished. They sat on the couch, leaving space between them like they had that first time at the cafe, and Noah tried to find the right words to say what he needed to say. "I've been thinking," he started. "I know, you said that. And I realized something. I've been so focused on what this costs, Marcus, my mom's approval, my simple life, that I haven't really thought about what it means, what we actually are." Victoria turned to face him. "What do you want us to be?" "I don't know, but I know I don't want this to be casual. I don't want this to be something we try on for a few weeks and then discard when it gets hard. Neither do I." Because if we're doing this, if we're really doing this, then I need to know you're in it all the way. Not just the fun parts or the easy parts, but the messy parts too. I told you I was in. You said that before Marcus called you, before my mom got involved, before you saw what this actually costs. And I need to know if you still mean it. Victoria reached over, took his hand. Noah, I'm not going anywhere. You can't promise that. Yes, I can. I'm here, aren't I? Even though Marcus has been calling me nonstop, telling me I'm making a mistake. Even though everyone in my life thinks I'm crazy for walking away from a stable relationship for someone who, no offense, doesn't fit into my world. None taken. Because they're right. I don't fit. Maybe you don't fit into the world I had, but maybe I need a different world. Noah looked at her, really looked at her, searching for doubt or hesitation, or any sign that she was just saying what she thought he wanted to hear, but all he saw was certainty. This is going to be hard, he said. I know. Marcus might never forgive us. I know that too. And there's going to be days when you wonder what you're doing with a mechanic who can barely make rent and has a kid who needs him more than he needs you. Stop doing that. Doing what? Trying to convince me to leave. If you don't want this, just say so, but don't hide behind all the reasons it won't work. Noah was quiet for a moment. I'm scared. Of what? Of letting you in and then losing you. Of Micah getting attached and then you deciding this isn't what you want. He stopped, tried to find the courage to say the real fear. Of finally being happy and then having it taken away. Victoria squeezed his hand. I can't promise I won't leave. Nobody can promise that. But I can promise I'm not going into this lightly. I know what I'm choosing, and I'm choosing you. Messy, complicated, scared of being happy, you. Why? Because you see me. Not the successful businesswoman or the billionaire or Marcus's ex, just me. Victoria. The person who's been pretending to be okay for so long she almost forgot what real feels like. Noah felt something crack open in his chest. I don't know how to do this. Do what? Be with someone. Really be with someone. It's been 3 years since Sarah, and before that I was barely an adult. I don't know how to... Then we'll figure it out together, both of us stumbling through it. What if I'm bad at it? Then you'll be bad at it, and I'll tell you, and we'll work on it. That's what people do. Noah looked at her, at this woman who'd walked into his life and turned everything upside down, and felt the last of his resistance crumble. Okay, he said. Okay, what? Okay, let's do this. Really do it. No more holding back, no more second guessing. Let's see where this goes. Victoria smiled, and it was like the sun breaking through clouds. Yeah? Yeah. She kissed him then, and it was different from the first time. Less desperate, more sure. Like they were sealing a promise they were both terrified to make, but making anyway. When they broke apart, Victoria said, So what now? Now I introduce you properly to Micah, as someone who's going to be around, not just the lady who drops off papers. Is he ready for that? I don't know, but he deserves honesty, even if it's complicated. What are you going to tell him? The truth, that I'm seeing someone, that she's important to me, that things are going to change, but change isn't always bad. And if he doesn't like me, then we'll work on it, together. Victoria laughed, shaky but real. This is insane. Yeah, we're really doing this. Yeah, we are. They sat there on the couch, hands intertwined, both of them aware they'd just jumped off a cliff with no idea if there was water below. But for the first time in a week, Noah felt like he could breathe. His phone buzzed. He almost ignored it, but Victoria nodded toward it. You should check. Could be about Micah. It wasn't about Micah. It was Marcus, from the blocked number. I talked to Victoria's brother tonight. He told me I should fight for her, that I shouldn't give up. So I'm telling you this as a courtesy. I'm not done. I'm going to prove to her that leaving me was a mistake. And when this thing between you falls apart, I'll be there to pick up the pieces. You don't get to ruin my life and win. Noah read it twice, felt the anger and pain radiating off the words. He showed it to Victoria. She read it, closed her eyes. He's hurting. I know. He doesn't mean it. Doesn't he? I'll talk to him, tell him to stop. No, let him work through it however he needs to. I owe him that much. You don't owe him anything. You didn't steal me. I made my own choice. But he doesn't see it that way, and maybe he never will. Victoria set the phone down, wrapped her arms around herself. This is my fault. I handled the breakup wrong. I should have been clearer, should have made him understand it wasn't about you. It was about me, at least partly. You were a catalyst, not the cause. Semantics. Important semantics. Noah pulled her close, felt her settle against him like she belonged there. We'll get through this. You sure about that? No, but I'm going to try anyway. They stayed like that for a while, wrapped up in each other, both of them holding on like if they let go, they'd float away. Outside, the world kept turning. Marcus somewhere nursing his wounds, Noah's mother worrying, Micah asleep down the hall dreaming whatever 6-year-olds dream about. And in this small living room in a rental house with a water-stained ceiling, two people who'd found each other at exactly the wrong time tried to believe they could make it work anyway. Around 10, Victoria said she should go. Noah walked her to the door, kissed her goodnight, watched her drive away with the same feeling he'd had before, like he was watching something precious disappear and hoping it would come back. He checked on Micah, still asleep, dinosaur clutched tight, then went to bed. Sleep came easier than it had all week, and for the first time since Marcus had shown up at his door, Noah didn't dream about losing everything. The next morning, he woke up to Micah jumping on his bed. Dad, can Victoria come to the park with us today? Noah blinked, groggy. What? You said she's your friend. Can she come? How do you know I'm seeing her? I heard you talking to her last night. You said you're going to see where it goes. What does that mean? Noah sat up, rubbed his face. Here it was. The conversation he'd been dreading and knew he had to have. Come here, buddy. Micah climbed onto the bed, cross-legged and serious. Are you in trouble? No, but I need to talk to you about something important. Okay. You know how sometimes grown-ups date, like in movies? Yeah. Well, Victoria and I are going to try dating. Micah tilted his head. Like boyfriend and girlfriend? Yeah, kind of like that. Is she going to be my new mom? The question hit like a freight train. Nobody. She's not replacing your mom. Your mom is always going to be your mom. Victoria is she's someone I care about, someone who's going to spend time with us. Do I have to call her mom? No, you call her Victoria. Will she live here? Not right now. Maybe someday, but not yet. Micah processed this, face scrunched up in concentration. Do you love her? I don't know yet. Maybe. It's too soon to know. But you like her a lot. Yeah, I like her a lot. Does she like me? She does. She thinks you're pretty great. Micah smiled, gap-toothed and perfect. Okay, she can come to the park. Just like that. No drama, no tears, just simple acceptance that things were changing and that was okay. Noah pulled his son into a hug, felt the weight of worry lift slightly. Thanks, buddy. For what? For being cool about this. It's okay, Dad. You said change isn't always bad. Remember? Noah laughed, felt tears prick his eyes. Yeah, I remember. They called Victoria, and she met them at the park an hour later. Micah ran to her like they were old friends, started telling her about his dinosaur collection and his theory about time-traveling velociraptors. Victoria listened like it was the most fascinating thing she'd ever heard, asked questions, laughed at the right moments. Noah watched them together, his son and this woman he barely knew but couldn't stop thinking about, and felt something settle in his chest. Hope, maybe, or possibility, or just the simple recognition that maybe, against all odds, this might actually work. They spent the afternoon at the park, the three of them, building sandcastles and pushing Micah on the swings and eating ice cream that dripped everywhere. Normal things, simple things, things that felt like the beginning of something real. As the sun started to set and Micah was wearing himself out on the jungle gym, Victoria took Noah's hand. This is nice, she said. Yeah. Your son is amazing. He is. And I'm terrified I'm going to screw this up. Me too. But we're doing it anyway. Yeah, we are. She leaned her head on his shoulder and Noah wrapped his arm around her and they sat there watching Micah play, two broken people trying to build something whole. His phone buzzed. He ignored it, buzzed again. He checked. His mother. I saw you at the park. With her and Micah. We need to talk. Noah sighed, showed Victoria the message. You should call her, Victoria said. I know. I can go, give you space. No, stay. Whatever she has to say, you should hear it too. He called his mother, put it on speaker low enough that Micah couldn't hear. Ma, I saw you. I know, you said that. You're introducing her to Micah already? You've known her for what, 3 weeks? 5, and yes, I am. Noah, this is moving too fast. Maybe, but it feels right. Helen was quiet for a moment. I'm worried about you. I know. And I'm worried about Micah. What happens when this doesn't work out? What if it does work out? It won't. These things never do. You don't know that. I know you, and I know you're going to get hurt. Noah looked at Victoria, who was pretending not to listen, but clearly was. Maybe, but it's my choice to make. And what about Micah's choice? He's 6. I'm his father. I make the choices. Bad ones, apparently. The words stung. Ma, I'm sorry. That was unfair. But, Noah, I love you, and I don't want to watch you destroy your life for someone who might not stick around. She's sitting right here, on speaker, so maybe save the commentary. Silence. Then, oh, I'm sorry, Victoria. That was inappropriate. Victoria leaned closer to the phone. It's okay, Mrs. Hayes. You're protecting your son. I respect that. I'm trying to, but he's making it very difficult. I know, but I promise you, I'm not taking this lightly. I know what I'm asking him to risk. Do you? Do you really understand what it means to be with someone who has a child? Someone who doesn't have money or status or any of the things you're used to? I'm learning, and Noah's teaching me. Helen sighed. I hope you're both right about this. I really do. Because if you're wrong, there's a little boy who's going to pay the price. The call ended and Noah and Victoria sat in silence for a moment. She's not wrong, Victoria said quietly. About what? About Micah. If this falls apart, he's the one who gets hurt. Then we don't let it fall apart. Can we promise that? No, but we can try. Micah ran up, out of breath and grinning. Can Victoria have dinner with us? Noah looked at Victoria. Can you? Yeah, I'd like that. They went back to Noah's house and Victoria helped him make spaghetti, burning the garlic, oversalting the sauce, laughing at how bad she was at basic cooking. Micah set the table, putting the forks on the wrong side because he could never remember which way they went. And the 3 of them sat down together, this strange new unit that didn't quite fit but was trying to, and ate dinner like it was the most natural thing in the world. Later, after Micah was in bed and Victoria was getting ready to leave, she stopped at the door. Thank you, she said. For what? For letting me in, for trusting me with this, with him. Thank you for staying. She kissed him, soft and sweet, and Noah felt like maybe, just maybe, they were going to be okay. After she left, he cleaned up the kitchen, put away the dishes, wiped down the counters. Normal domestic tasks that felt different now, charged with the possibility of a future he'd stopped believing in. His phone buzzed one last time. Marcus. I drove by the park today. Saw you with her and Micah. Looked like a real family. Hope you're happy. Noah stared at the message, at the bitterness and pain bleeding through every word, and felt the full weight of what he'd chosen. He typed back, I'm sorry. For all of it. You deserve better. The response came fast. Yeah, I did. Noah set the phone down, turned off the lights, went to bed. And for the first time in weeks, he slept through the night without dreaming of all the ways this could end. 3 weeks passed in a strange kind of rhythm that Noah didn't trust but couldn't help falling into. Victoria started showing up on Tuesday nights for dinner, sitting at his wobbly kitchen table helping Micah with homework she was wildly overqualified to assist with. She'd come to the park on Saturdays, pushing Micah on the swings, while Noah sat on a bench pretending to read but really just watching them. Small moments, careful moments, like they were both testing the weight of something fragile. She was trying. Noah could see that. She'd show up in jeans instead of designer clothes, brought groceries without making a big deal about it, Learned to burn grilled cheese exactly the way Micah liked it, crispy on the edges, soft in the middle. But there were cracks, too. She'd check her phone during dinner, lost in some work crisis that cost more than Noah made in a year. She'd flinch when Micah got too loud. She'd look around Noah's small house with an expression she tried to hide but couldn't quite manage, like she was visiting a museum exhibit called How the Other Half Lives. Noah noticed. He always noticed. But he didn't say anything because saying it out loud would make it real, and he wasn't ready for real yet. On a Thursday in late October, Victoria texted him at work. "Can we talk tonight? After Micah's asleep?" Noah stared at the message, felt his stomach drop. Those words never meant anything good. "Yeah. Come over around 8. He spent the rest of the day distracted, screwing up an oil change, misdiagnosing a transmission problem, earning a sharp look from Tom that said, "Get your head right or go home." At 5, Noah clocked out early, picked up Micah from his mother's house. Helen met them at the door, and Noah could tell from her face that she knew something was wrong. "You okay?" she asked. "Fine." Liar. Is it Victoria? "I don't know yet. You want me to keep Micah tonight? Give you space?" "No, whatever this is, I need him here. Need to remember what matters." Helen's face softened. "Okay, but call me if you need anything." At home, Noah made dinner, mac and cheese from a box because he couldn't focus on anything more complicated. Micah chattered about school, about a kid named Dylan who ate paste, about how his teacher said dinosaurs might have had feathers. "Do you think they did, Dad?" "What?" "Have feathers. The dinosaurs." Noah tried to focus. "Probably some of them." "That would make them less scary." "Maybe. Or maybe it would make them scarier, like giant chickens that could eat you." Micah laughed, and the sound was so normal, so pure, that Noah felt his chest tighten. This was what he was protecting. This simple joy. This kid who deserves stability. Victoria arrived at 8:03, apologizing for being late even though she was barely late at all. She looked tired, wearing yoga pants and a sweatshirt, hair in a messy bun. The most casual he'd ever seen her, which somehow made him more nervous. They sat on the couch, and this time there was no space between them. They'd crossed that line weeks ago, but tonight it felt wrong, sitting too close when Noah was bracing for impact. "So," Victoria said. "So." "I've been thinking." "That's never good." She smiled, but it was sad. "I'm not breaking up with you." Noah felt relief and dread in equal measure. "Then what?" I'm struggling with all of this, and I need to be honest about it." "Okay." "When I ended things with Marcus, I told myself it was because I wasn't happy, because I needed something real, and that was true. But I didn't really think about what real meant. What does it mean?" Victoria looked around the living room, at Micah's toys scattered everywhere, at the couch with the broken spring, at the TV that was older than Micah. "Real means this, your life, and I'm trying to fit into it, but I don't know if I can." "What are you saying?" "I'm saying I love the idea of us. I love how you make me feel, how Micah makes me laugh, how being here feels like coming home to something I didn't know I was missing. But then I leave and go back to my apartment and I realize how different our worlds are. I told you that from the beginning." "I know, and I thought it wouldn't matter, but it does." Noah felt something cold settle in his stomach. So this was a mistake. "No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's harder than I expected, and I don't want to keep pretending it's not." "What do you want me to do about it?" "I can't change who I am. I can't magically make more money or live in a better house or be someone who fits into your world. I'm not asking you to change." "Then what are you asking?" Victoria was quiet for a long moment. "I don't know. Maybe I'm just asking for patience, for understanding that I'm trying. I can see you're trying, but trying and succeeding are different things." "I know. So what happens if you can't succeed? If you wake up one day and realize you can't do this anymore? Then I'll tell you, and we'll figure out what comes next." "That's not fair to Micah. He's already getting attached to you." "I'm attached to him too." "But you're an adult. You can handle disappointment. He's 6. If you leave, it's going to hurt him." Victoria's eyes filled with tears. "Do you think I don't know that? Do you think I'm not terrified of hurting him? Of hurting you?" Then Maybe you should figure out if you can actually do this before we go any further. That's what I'm trying to do. That's why I'm here, being honest instead of just smiling and pretending everything's fine. Noah stood up, started pacing. I can't do this again. I can't watch someone I care about slowly realize I'm not enough. That's not what this is, isn't it? Sarah left because she couldn't handle this life. And now you're telling me you're struggling with the same things she struggled with. I'm not Sarah. No, but you're having the same doubts. Victoria stood up, faced him. The difference is I'm telling you about them. I'm not just running away. I'm trying to work through them. By telling me you don't know if you can do this? By being honest about how hard it is, and asking if we can figure it out together. Noah stopped pacing, looked at her, really looked at her. And he saw it. The fear, the uncertainty, but also the determination. She wasn't running, not yet. What do you need? He asked quietly. I need you to understand that I'm doing the best I can, and I need time to adjust to what this life actually means. How much time? I don't know, but I'm not giving up, not yet. Noah felt the anger drain out of him, replaced by exhaustion. Okay. Okay? Yeah, we'll take it slow. Figure it out as we go. Victoria crossed the space between them, wrapped her arms around him. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. This might still fall apart. Maybe. But at least we're being honest about it. They stood there holding each other, and Noah tried to believe that honesty was enough, that transparency could somehow bridge the gap between their worlds. The next morning, Noah woke up to his phone ringing. Unknown number. He almost ignored it, but something made him answer. Hello? Noah, it's Marcus. Noah sat up fast, suddenly wide awake. Marcus, I know you probably don't want to hear from me, but I need to talk to you. In person. About what? About everything. About Victoria. About us. I've been thinking a lot, and I can't keep doing this. The anger, it's eating me alive. What are you saying? I'm saying I want to meet, just the two of us. Talk this through like adults instead of sending bitter texts at midnight. Noah was quiet for a moment, processing. When? Today? I know it's short notice, but yeah, okay, where? The coffee place on Market, the one we used to go to in high school. I remember. Noon? I'll be there. The call ended and Noah sat there holding his phone, trying to figure out what this meant. Was Marcus ready to forgive him? Or was this a final goodbye, a formal ending to their friendship? He texted Victoria. Marcus wants to meet, today. Her response came fast. Do you want me there? No, I think this is something I need to do alone. Okay, call me after? Yeah. Noah dropped Micah at his mother's house, explaining that he had something important to deal with. Helen looked worried, but didn't push. At 11:30, Noah drove to the coffee shop, arrived early, ordered black coffee he didn't drink, and waited. Marcus showed up at noon exactly, looking like he'd aged 10 years in a month. Dark circles under his eyes, beard grown out, wearing a rumpled t-shirt Noah had never seen him in. They looked at each other across the cafe, and for a moment neither of them moved. Then Marcus walked over, sat down across from him. Thanks for coming, Marcus said. Yeah. I ordered for you. Black coffee, right? Some things don't change. Some things do. Marcus flinched. Yeah, they do. They sat in uncomfortable silence for a moment. Around them, the cafe buzzed with normal life. Students studying, couples on dates, someone in the corner working on a laptop. Nobody noticed two old friends sitting in the wreckage of their relationship. I've been seeing a therapist, Marcus said finally. Noah blinked. You have? Yeah. After Victoria left, after I found out about you two, I kind of fell apart. Stopped going to work, stopped sleeping, just spiraled. My mom finally made me see someone. I didn't know. How would you? We haven't talked. Marcus took a sip of his coffee. The therapist helped me realize some things. About Victoria. About our relationship. About myself. What things? That I was holding on to something that was already gone. That Victoria and I weren't working long before you came into the picture. That maybe I knew it but didn't want to admit it because admitting it meant failing. Noah didn't know what to say. And I realized something else, Marcus continued. I was angrier at you than I was at her, because with you, it felt like betrayal, like you chose her over me. But with her, it was just, she made a choice about her own happiness, and I couldn't really be mad at that, even though I wanted to be. Marcus, let me finish. I need to say this. Marcus looked down at his coffee. I don't know if I can forgive you. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But I understand why you did it. And I understand why she did it, and I'm tired of being angry. So what does that mean? It means I'm letting it go. Not forgiving, not forgetting, but letting go of the anger, because it's not helping anyone. Noah felt something loosen in his chest. I'm sorry, for all of it. For hurting you, for not being honest sooner, for... I know, I believe you. But sorry doesn't fix it. I know. They sat there for a while, drinking coffee that had gone cold. Two people who used to know everything about each other trying to figure out if there was anything left to salvage. Are you happy? Marcus asked suddenly. With her? Noah thought about it. Really thought about it. I don't know, sometimes. Other times I'm terrified it's all going to fall apart. Does she make you happy? When we're together, yeah. But it's complicated. It always is. She's struggling with my life, with the reality of what being with me means. Marcus let out a bitter laugh. Yeah, that sounds like Victoria. She's great at the idea of things, not always great at the reality. Did she do that with you? All the time. She'd talk about our future, marriage, kids, the whole package. But whenever I tried to make concrete plans, she'd shut down. Said it was too soon, she wasn't ready, she needed to focus on work. Why didn't you tell me? Because I thought if I just gave her more time, she'd come around. I thought I could wait her out. Noah was quiet for a moment. What if she does the same thing to me? Then you'll deal with it, or you won't. Either way, that's between you and her now. Does it bother you that I'm with her? Marcus considered the question. Honestly? Yeah, it does. Every time I think about you two together, I feel like someone's driving a knife into my chest. But that's my problem to deal with, not yours. I never wanted to hurt you. I know, but you did. And I have to live with that. And so do you. The words hung between them, true and heavy. Noah wanted to argue, to defend himself, to make Marcus understand that it hadn't been some calculated betrayal. But what was the point? The damage was done. Can I ask you something? Noah said. Sure. If you could go back knowing everything you know now, would you still date her? Marcus thought about it for a long time. No. I don't think I would. Not because she's a bad person, but because we were fundamentally wrong for each other. I just didn't want to see it. How do you know when someone's right for you? I don't know, man. I used to think I did. But now I think maybe you don't know until you're already in too deep to get out. That's not reassuring. It's not supposed to be. It's just honest. They finished their coffee and the conversation drifted to safer topics. Work, family. The new season of a show they both used to watch. Tentative, careful, like they were learning how to talk to each other again. When they were getting ready to leave, Marcus said, I'm not saying we're okay. We're not. But maybe eventually we can get there. I'd like that. Yeah, me too. Marcus stood, hesitated. One more thing. What? If this thing with Victoria falls apart, and I'm not saying it will, but if it does, don't come to me for sympathy. I'm not going to be the shoulder you cry on about losing the woman who left me for you. Fair enough. But if it works out, if you two actually make it, Marcus stopped, struggled with the words. Then I guess I'll be happy for you. Eventually. Maybe. That's more than I deserve. Yeah, it is. Marcus walked away, and Noah watched him go, feeling like they'd just closed one chapter without quite opening another. Not enemies, not friends, something undefined and uncomfortable in between. He texted Victoria. It's done. We talked. It wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible. Are you okay? Yeah, can I come over? Please do. Noah drove to her apartment, the first time he'd been there since that afternoon weeks ago. She opened the door in leggings and an oversized sweatshirt, no makeup, hair down. She looked vulnerable in a way he'd rarely seen. How was it? She asked. Weird, sad, but maybe necessary. Is he okay? I don't think so, but he's trying. They sat on her expensive couch, and Noah told her everything. The therapy, Marcus's admission that their relationship had been failing, the conditional offer of eventual forgiveness. Victoria listened, quiet and still. He's right, you know, she said when Noah finished. About what? About me being good at ideas but bad at reality. I do that. I always have. Why? Because reality is hard and messy, and it requires staying when things get uncomfortable instead of just moving on to the next thing. Is that what you're going to do with me? Move on when it gets uncomfortable? Victoria turned to face him. I don't know. That's the honest answer. I want to say no. I want to promise I'll stick it out no matter what. But I don't know if I can make that promise. Then why are we doing this? Because I want to try. Because maybe this time I'll actually follow through instead of running away. That's not enough. I know. But it's all I have. Noah felt something break inside him. I can't do uncertain, Victoria. I have a kid who needs stability. I have a life that barely holds together on a good day. I can't add someone who doesn't know if they're staying or going. So what are you saying? I'm saying you need to make a choice, all in or all out. No more maybes. That's not fair. Life's not fair. But I'm done waiting for people to decide if I'm worth sticking around for. Victoria's eyes filled with tears. I'm trying, Noah. I know you are. But trying isn't the same as doing. Then what do you want me to do? I want you to figure out if this is what you actually want or if you're just afraid of being alone. And I want you to do it without dragging me and Micah along for the ride. How long do I have? I don't know, but not forever. I can't live in limbo waiting for you to make up your mind. Victoria wiped her eyes. Okay. Okay, what? Okay, I'll figure it out. I need some time, space to think without the pressure of seeing you every week. Noah felt his stomach drop. You want to break up? No, I want a break, a real one. A few weeks where we don't see each other, don't talk every day, just exist separately so I can figure out what I actually want. And if you decide you can't do this, then I'll tell you, and you can move on with your life. And if you decide you can, then we start over, fresh, with me actually committed instead of just trying to be. Noah stood up, felt like the floor was tilting. This is what you did with Marcus, isn't it? Kept him waiting while you figured yourself out. This is different. Is it? Because from where I'm standing, it looks exactly the same. I'm not asking you to wait indefinitely. I'm asking for a few weeks to get my head straight. A few weeks where you get to live your comfortable life without having to deal with my messy one. That's not fair. Fair. You want to talk about fair? I blew up my most important friendship for you. I introduced you to my son. I let myself believe that maybe this could work. And now you're asking for a break because reality is too hard? I told you I was struggling. I was honest about it. Honest would have been figuring this out before you got Micah attached, before I started rearranging my life around you. Victoria stood up, anger flashing in her eyes. I didn't ask you to rearrange your life. I didn't ask you to blow up your friendship. You made those choices. Because you said you wanted this. I thought I did. And now you're not sure. They stared at each other, breathing hard, years of accumulated baggage suddenly visible between them. I think you should go, Victoria said quietly. Yeah, I think I should. Noah walked to the door, stopped with his hand on the knob. For what it's worth, I think you're making a mistake. I think you're letting fear make your decisions instead of actually trying to work through this. Maybe I am, but that's my choice to make. Yeah, it is. He left without looking back, drove home in a haze of anger and hurt and confusion. At home, he picked up Micah from his mother's without explaining what happened, made dinner in silence, went through all the motions of normal life while feeling like he was falling apart. That night, after Micah was asleep, Noah sat on his porch with a beer and tried to make sense of the day. Marcus willing to forgive but not forget. Victoria wanting space to figure out if she could handle his life. And him, caught in the middle, wondering if he'd just destroyed everything for nothing. His phone buzzed. Victoria. I'm sorry for how I handled that. You deserved better. Noah stared at the message, fingers hovering over the keyboard. He could respond, could try to fix it, could pull her back before the break became permanent. Instead, he wrote, "Take your time, figure out what you want. I'll be here or I won't, but I'm not waiting forever." He didn't hear from her for 2 weeks. The silence was brutal. Noah went through his days on autopilot: work, Micah, sleep, repeat. His mother asked what happened, and he gave her the short version. She didn't say, "I told you so," which somehow made it worse. On the 15th day, Noah's phone rang at 11 p.m. Victoria. He almost didn't answer, but something made him pick up. "Hello? I'm outside." Noah walked to the window, looked out. Her Mercedes was parked at the curb, headlights off. Victoria sitting in the driver's seat holding her phone. "What are you doing here?" "Can I come in?" "It's late." "I know, but I couldn't wait until tomorrow. I needed to talk to you tonight." Noah unlocked the front door, stood there waiting. Victoria got out of her car, walked up the path, stopped at the bottom of the porch steps. "I figured it out," she said. And I'm all in, if you'll still have me." Noah's heart jumped, but he kept his voice steady. "What changed?" "I spent 2 weeks trying to go back to my old life. Throwing myself into work, going to events, seeing friends. All the things that used to make me happy. And the whole time I felt like I was sleepwalking, like nothing was real." "So you came back because you were bored?" "No, I came back because I realized that the struggle, the hard parts, the uncomfortable parts, they're not bugs. They're features. Being with you is hard because it's real, because I can't just perform my way through it. And that terrifies me. But it also makes me feel more alive than I've felt in years." "Words are easy, Victoria." "I know. That's why I did this." She pulled an envelope from her pocket, handed it to him. Noah opened it. Inside was a lease agreement for an apartment 10 minutes from his house. Small, modest, nothing like her high-rise downtown. "What is this?" "I'm moving closer to you, to this life. I'm not saying I'm moving in with you. We're not there yet. But I'm committing to being here, to being part of your world instead of just visiting it." Noah stared at the lease, trying to process. "You're serious?" "I've never been more serious about anything." "This is crazy." "Probably, but I've tried playing it safe. I tried being with someone who made sense on paper, and it made me miserable. So I'm trying crazy instead." Noah looked at her, really looked at her, searching for doubt or hesitation or any sign that this was just another temporary commitment she'd back out of when things got hard. "What about work? Your company?" "I'm hiring a COO, someone to handle day-to-day operations while I focus on the parts I actually care about, the design, the preservation work. And I'm scaling back, working reasonable hours instead of 80-hour weeks." "Why?" "Because I want a life, a real one, with you, with Micah, with all the messy, complicated parts that come with that. And when it gets hard, when you're tired of burnt grilled cheese and wobbly kitchen tables and a boyfriend who can't afford to take you anywhere fancy." Victoria climbed the porch steps, stood in front of him. "Then we'll work through it, together, like actual partners instead of me running away every time things get uncomfortable." Noah felt his defenses crumbling. "I don't know if I can trust this." "I know. I haven't earned your trust yet, but I'm asking for the chance to." "What if you change your mind again?" "Then I'll have made the biggest mistake of my life. But I don't think I will. Because the last 2 weeks without you were the longest 2 weeks I've ever experienced, and I don't want to live like that anymore." Noah set down the lease, looked at this woman who'd turned his life upside down, who'd made him hope for things he'd stopped believing in, who'd hurt him and confused him, and somehow made him feel more alive than he had in years. "I wish you were mine tonight," he said softly. Victoria's eyes widened. Those words, the same ones she'd said weeks ago in his driveway, the ones that had started everything. "I am yours," she said, "if you'll have me." Noah pulled her close, kissed her like he'd been holding his breath for 2 weeks, and was finally allowed to breathe. When they broke apart, Victoria was crying. "I love you," she said. "I should have said it sooner, but I was scared, and I'm still scared, but I love you anyway." "I love you too, even though you drive me crazy, even though this is probably going to be the hardest thing either of us ever does, especially because of that." They stood there on his porch, holding each other, and Noah felt something settle in his chest. Not certainty. He wasn't naive enough to think this was going to be easy, but something close to hope. "Come inside," he said. "I can't. Not tonight. Micah's asleep and I don't want to confuse him. But tomorrow, can I come for dinner?" "Yeah." "And can we tell him that I'm staying, that this is real? If you're sure." "I'm sure." She kissed him one more time, soft and sweet, then walked back to her car. Noah watched her drive away, but this time it felt different. Not like losing something, but like the promise of something coming back. The next night, Victoria came for dinner. Noah made spaghetti. Better than last time, garlic only slightly burned. Micah set the table with the forks on the right side this time, grinning with pride when Noah noticed. After dinner, after the dishes were done, the three of them sat in the living room. Micah on the floor with his dinosaurs, Noah and Victoria on the couch. "Buddy," Noah said, "Victoria has something to tell you." Micah looked up, interested. "What?" Victoria knelt down to his level. "I'm moving closer, to an apartment not far from here, so I can see you and your dad more often. Like, a lot more?" "Yeah, a lot more. If that's okay with you." Micah thought about it, face serious. "Will you still burn the grilled cheese?" Victoria laughed. "Probably. I'm not very good at cooking." "That's okay. Dad can teach you. He's a really good teacher." "I know he is." "And can we still go to the park?" "Definitely." "And will you tell Dad when he's being sad but pretending he's not?" Victoria glanced at Noah, smiled. "Yeah, I'll tell him." "Okay. Then it's okay with me." Just like that. Simple acceptance that their family was expanding, that change was coming, that things were going to be different, but maybe in a good way. Over the next few months, Victoria moved into her new apartment. It was smaller than her old place, more modest, with actual personality instead of designer sterility. She hung photos of her and Noah, of Micah, of the Whitmore building she was restoring. She learned to cook, slowly and badly, burning things and oversalting and laughing at her own incompetence. She showed up for dinner 3 nights a week, then 4, then 5. She came to Micah's soccer games, cheering louder than anyone. She met Noah's mother for coffee and won her over through sheer persistence and genuine effort. It wasn't perfect. There were fights about money, about boundaries, about how to discipline Micah, about the fact that Noah still kept parts of himself locked away. Victoria would get frustrated with the smallness of his life sometimes, the limitations, the constant compromises. Noah would get defensive, would pull away, would wonder if she was secretly regretting her choice. But they worked through it, slowly, messily, with the help of couples therapy that Victoria insisted on and paid for despite Noah's protests. They learned each other's rhythms, each other's damage, each other's ways of showing love. 6 months in, Noah ran into Marcus at the grocery store. They stood in the cereal aisle, 2 former best friends who'd become strangers, and for a moment neither knew what to say. "Hey," Marcus said finally. "Hey, how are you?" "Good. You?" "Better. I'm seeing someone. Nothing serious yet, but yeah, that's good." "Is Victoria here? I thought I saw her car outside." "She's grabbing milk." Marcus nodded, uncomfortable. "How's that going?" "It's going. We're making it work." "Good. That's good." Marcus hesitated. "I meant what I said about eventually being happy for you. I'm not there yet, but I'm getting closer." "Take your time." "Yeah." Marcus grabbed a box of cereal, started to walk away, stopped. "Noah?" "Yeah?" "Don't screw this up. If you're going to be with her, really be with her. Don't half-ass it." "I won't." "Good." Marcus walked away, and Noah stood there holding a box of Micah's favorite cereal, feeling like maybe, eventually, they might find their way back to something resembling friendship. A year after that night on the porch, on a calm evening after the rain, Noah and Victoria sat on his back steps watching Micah chase fireflies in the yard. The house was still small, still had the water stain on the ceiling, still had wobbly furniture and a washing machine that only worked when you kicked it. But it felt different now. Lived in. Shared. "I got an email today," Victoria said. "About what?" "Marcus. He's engaged." Noah felt a pang of something, not quite jealousy, not quite regret. To who? A woman he met through work. I looked her up. She seems nice, age appropriate, stable job, likes hiking. Good for him. Yeah. Victoria leaned against Noah's shoulder. He deserves to be happy. So do you. I am happy, most of the time, when you're not leaving your socks on the floor or letting Micah eat cookies before dinner. I do not let him eat cookies before dinner. You absolutely do. They sat in comfortable silence, watching Micah catch fireflies and let them go, his laughter carrying across the yard. You know what I was thinking about today? Victoria said. What? That night in your driveway, when I said I wished you were mine. I remember. I was so scared, so sure I was making a mistake, so convinced this was going to blow up in my face. And now? Victoria turned to look at him, and in her eyes Noah saw everything they'd built. The fights, the compromises, the small moments that had added up to something real. Now I wish you were mine tonight, she said, just like I did then, except this time I know you are, and that makes all the difference. Noah kissed her, soft and certain, and felt like they'd finally arrived somewhere they were both supposed to be. Not perfect, not uncomplicated, but real. Messily, beautifully, imperfectly real. Micah ran up, out of breath, fireflies blinking in the jar he was holding. Dad! Victoria! Look how many I caught! They looked, admired, helped him release them back into the night. And later, after Micah was in bed, after Victoria had gone back to her apartment because they still weren't quite ready to live together but were getting closer, Noah sat on his porch with a beer and thought about how far he'd come. He'd lost his best friend, gained a partner, rebuilt his life around something fragile and uncertain. And somehow, against all odds, it was working. His phone buzzed. Victoria, thank you. For what? For not giving up on me when I was giving up on myself. Thank you for coming back. I'll always come back. That's the deal. What deal? The one where you're mine and I'm yours and we figure out the rest as we go. Noah smiled, set his phone down, looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, Marcus was building a life with someone new. Somewhere closer, his son was asleep dreaming of dinosaurs. And here, on this porch, in this small house, with all its imperfections, Noah Hayes felt something he hadn't felt in a very long time. Content. Not perfect, not certain, but content. And for now, that was enough.